Orlando, home of the wild mouse. Hello there.
Yes, greetings from Mickey Land.
Yes, ma'am. Would you believe that the mouse rail is going to be in New York this weekend?
Oh, really?
Yeah, they took one of the monorail cars and turned it into a vehicle, and it's running around the city.
We're kind of excited about Universal around here right now, though.
Uh-huh.
I have a question. I think I got it down to make this long story short. My husband and I became new homeowners on May 4th.
Well, congratulations. Welcome to the mortgage pool.
Don't congratulate us yet. Okay, mortgage company 1 paid the title company after the closing.
What do you mean paid the title company?
I guess they paid them for the mortgage. The amount of the mortgage is from what we understand of what they've told us.
May I assume we did not have a lawyer?
Not at the first.
You did or you didn't?
No.
Okay.
Okay. The title company paid the builder. Then the mortgage company's check that they paid the title company with bounced. And then the first mortgage company that we had a mortgage with proceeded to file for bankruptcy.
Check bounced?
Yes.
That's a first.
Yes.
Okay.
Then we knew nothing of this until a new mortgage company, this is mortgage company number 2, called us up saying that we never closed because the paperwork never got to FHA. It's an FHA loan.
Mm-hmm.
And
so you're in your house, but you never closed?
Yes, for 2 months now. And the new mortgage company said they wouldn't qualify us with what the first mortgage company qualified us with.
Why?
Because of FHA rules, they say the other mortgage company took shortcuts. We said, well, that's not our fault. Technically, we have papers at home. So anyway, the title company, now we get a letter from the title company. If you don't produce enough information for them to qualify you, we will proceed to sue you for the balance of the mortgage.
Do we have an attorney yet?
At this point, we have an attorney.
Thank goodness. Go ahead.
The attorney took over from there, and then he arranged they all of a sudden wanted to go ahead and qualify us. We're qualified now. Mm-hmm. And we have a closing date set, but this is not a new closing. This is considered a refinanced mortgage. Mm-hmm. The day of the closing, they canceled the appointment and said the expiration date ran out.
On the commitment.
Right.
Oh, dear Lord.
Okay. We do not hear anything from them for a week. So I called the mortgage company, and he said, well, I don't know anything about it. I'll, give your loan off.
You should not be making that call.
Well, at this point, the attorney had said everything was fine to go ahead and sign the documents. You go ahead and schedule a closing, which we scheduled the closing.
Yeah,
and
when the scheduling was he wasn't going to go to the closing with you?
No, he reviewed the documents.
Oh, it's not right. That's wrong. He should be at the closing.
With us?
Yes, ma'am. Suppose they throw something at you at the middle of the closing. There's a document there that you don't realize wasn't reviewed.
Right.
Your attorney is dead wrong, and I'll be willing to argue that with any attorney who wants to get on here.
Okay. We called.
He's taking shortcuts, in my opinion.
Okay. The mortgage company called us back now and said, you have no business closing. We haven't approved you yet, at which point I called the attorney and said, what's going on? They say they haven't approved us, and we're about a month away from closing. Mm-hmm. So that's at the point we're at right now.
In this instance,
right,
you shouldn't be making any phone calls, you shouldn't be returning any phone calls, and you certainly shouldn't be signing anything. Everything should be approved by your attorney.
Right, we haven't signed anything. What I'm wondering is the attorney's fees now for about a month and a half have gone up they're getting close to $1,000 now.
That sounds a little high to me, too.
Well, the mortgage company says we're probably still about another month away from closing. If this drags out...
It depends on what he has to do. He's getting paid by the hour, I assume.
Right. He's put like 6 or 7 hours so far. I know he's had to make a lot of phone calls and review documents and things, but is there any recourse we have as far as...
The only guilty party is the guys that went bankrupt.
Right.
But it would see, here's another case. If he had been involved in the beginning... you wouldn't be paying these kind of fees.
How would we have avoided it?
Because he would have given you a price for the closing.
I still don't get the title company more or less says if we don't get this loan, they're suing us.
I understand all that, but the suit would be what they're suing you for is to bring the matter to some kind of a conclusion,
right? To
get you out of the house. I don't think that's going to happen. It'd be a lot cleaner to get you approved for the mortgage,
right?
But the point is, the attorney is quite rightly jumping in. You brought him in after the fire started. Now, there's a distinct possibility that fire would not have got out of control if you had an attorney in from the outset, from the get-go. I have never understood you guys. How much did you pay for this house?
$85,000.
When was the last time you spent $85,000?
Yeah, this is our first time.
I don't understand that. 85. How much do you earn a year?
So, I'm sorry. If we had an attorney when we closed the first time, them filing for bankruptcy, we wouldn't have had this?
No, the filing would have taken place and all that sort of jazz. But your attorney's fees, in my opinion, would have been a ton less than they are now.
Okay,
because he would have been involved from the get-go.
Okay.
Or if my guy was representing me, you can bet your life we'd be arguing. But once you bring him in when the fire started, I mean, he's going to charge you his hourly rate and then whatever the number of hours are.
Okay.
But I think it's water over the dam at this point.
Right.
But I just don't understand why you young folks can't listen. And I mean, you had other stuff done, didn't you? You had the building inspected beforehand?
Well, it's a new home. They take care of all that.
Who does?
We don't have.
Who takes care of it?
The builder has it inspected. An FHA inspection.
The FHA inspection is worth nothing. What do you think of that?
Okay.
Zero. It just means it meets FHA specifications. It means there's no guarantee to you, whatever.
Okay.
Surveys, had that done. Certified to you, I hope?
Right.
Was it certified to you?
Yes, it was.
Okay. Title insurance is in place?
Well, see, now the the title company says that the title insurance is no good.
Well, because the note was never titled to you properly. You've never taken title to the house.
Well, right. We've never had any papers. We're living in it for nothing right now.
Well, nothing wrong with that. So you might have recaptured some of your expenses there.
Now, the mortgage company has agreed to match everything that was in the previous mortgage as far as payment, and they're absorbing all new closing costs.
And rates and so forth. Okay, that's
right.
Okay.
Our payment was due Sunday. We're setting up an escrow account.
I don't know that you'll have to make that payment.
Okay.
I don't know that. That's another question for your attorney.
Okay.
See whether or not you can be compelled to pay interest on money that really hasn't gone your way. On the other hand, they may come back and say they want to charge your rent. These are all things that are negotiable.
Okay.
Good luck, honey. I'm sorry I beat up on you, but I am frustrated. How you can go into something like, what do you do for a living?
Printing.
How long did it take to learn that craft?
I've been in it for 3 years.
And your husband?
He's been in it for 8 years.
Well, I could come in there tomorrow morning, do the printing, and just as well as you could, right?
Probably not.
That's what I'm trying to get to. Is that's why you know your craft, and you paid your dues to learn it, but you didn't learn how to be a lawyer. Neither did I.
Right.
That's why when I want printing done, guess who I hire? I hire a printer. When I have a legal problem, guess who I hire?
Right.
I wish you well, sweetheart. Good luck with your new house. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. Seattle, Washington. Your turn. Hello there.
Hi, Bruce.
Hi.
Hey, I was there. Met your ship.
You were where?
I was in Seattle. Met your ship in 1953 when it came in.
You're kidding me.
My uncle was on the ship. Came back from Korea. I was just 10 years old. I remember. Seems like we waited there for about 6 hours to let you guys off.
On the M.M. Patrick.
Yeah.
I'll be doggone.
Yeah.
That would be today's date.
Yeah.
That happened 37 years ago today.
Yeah.
Son of a gun.
Yeah, we had a big crowd down there. We had a big banner. Stimson's hero, Uncle Bill. My Uncle Bill was on the ship.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there were a lot of guys. We got lugged out to a place in Seattle. Everybody was in a hurry because they wanted to get rid of us because it was the 4th of July coming up, a holiday.
Yeah.
And, we were all a bunch of brats. We were all kids. Not much older than you are, but where we're at the time, for crying out loud. And we get herded into this big building. I'll never forget this. And,
they took up to Fort Lawton for the separation center.
Yeah, I don't know where they took us, but took us in for a lunch is what it came down to, with chowhounds.
Yeah.
And everybody's talking and carrying on, and the guy stood up and he says, "Welcome home." And and the next line was, "Glad to see you made it." Everybody laughed. And then he said 58,000 guys didn't. And you could hear a pin drop in there.
Oh, I imagine.
Because suddenly kind of made you aware of the fact that things might have come off a little differently. 37 years ago today. I remember it very well, and I'm delighted that your uncle made it back, and I'm glad to share a memory with you.
Great. It was nice talking to you.
Thanks very much for your call.
Bye.
I mentioned yesterday it was back from Korea in Seattle on the M.M. Patrick 37 years ago, and he was there. Whole bunch of ladies there giving out donuts and the rest of it. But never, I don't think many of us ever thought, even went through your mind that maybe you'd be the guy that bought the farm. And that guy brought it home very, very forcibly that day. Let's catch up a little piece of work here on Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. Virginia Beach v. You got your merchandise back under the 3-day rescission thing. Mm-hmm. The deal was over.
Right.
Whether you sold the paper improperly is not my problem. How much have you already paid?
About almost probably $400.
Why in the world would you do such a silly thing?
Because they kept telling me they were going to give me a bad credit rating and trying to build up. As many times as you told these listeners not to file bankruptcy, I have to tell them also.
Mm-hmm.
We got sucked in by an attorney telling us, oh, no, they'll send you credit card applications because you have a clean bill of slate now, and it doesn't work like that.
How much did you discharge to the bankruptcy?
$1,700.
You're kidding.
No.
Any attorney that gave you that advice should be hung up by his yes, he should.
I agree. But it's too late for that now.
Yeah, it sure is. I'd get myself an attorney on this one. I think how much is the whole contract for you paid for?
$1,500.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
No, I want to get my $400 back, too.
Is there a certain kind of attorney that I should?
No, a general practitioner should be able to write a couple letters in this one.
Okay.
I would hope so. Good luck, honey.
Thank you very much.
Boy, oh boy, there's a case of really screwing up. I mean, not keeping copies, not notifying them in writing, not having copies of what they signed, and then making payments on a product you didn't get because they scared you. Whew. But I can understand that. And she's trying to build up a reputation, these louses, so we're going to screw it up for you. Boy, oh boy. Hi, Bruce Williams. What kind of people do we have out there? This is Talknet. Let's go down to Rochester, New York. Hello there.
Hi, Bruce.
Hi.
How you doing?
I am doing just fine, thank you.
Okay, I've designed a new cheese grater and I'm wondering how I might go about marketing it.
Well, first of all, what does your cheese grater do that 10,000 other cheese graters haven't done prior to this time?
Well, the different thing about this is it's easier to use. It's got a handle on the back of it. Cheese graters really haven't been redesigned since for over 100 years. So
I'm sure about that. I'm the kind of guy. Maybe you are too. I love to go to these boardwalk or gadget displays, and why it walks, it talks, it does makes pizzas out of bread and so on and so forth. I get a kick out of those things, and certainly one of the things you see hustled regularly are different kinds of graters. Good on the fingers, and the guy rubs his knuckles across it, and no blood and all that sort of stuff.
Oh.
There's a whole bunch of good. That's why I'm taking exception to what you said. The graters haven't changed in 100 years because I believe they have. Well, maybe they haven't improved any. I don't know if these things are any good, but I've certainly seen them demonstrated on late night TV and, as I said, in places like the boardwalk. The guy does make salads and cuts up cucumbers and slices them and dices them and all that routine. You must have seen that stuff.
Well, that's not the same thing. What I'm talking about is, you know how those tin cheese graters, that everybody has?
Yeah, well, those things are there. They're as old-fashioned as, there's a much more modern way to do those things. That's what you have a Cuisinart for.
Yeah, well, mine's about 100 times cheaper than a Cuisinart.
Oh, okay. Well, in any case, so you got one. Are you getting it manufactured or what?
I'd like to, but, it's something that I couldn't produce definitely, on my own.
Well, you could. You have to hire somebody. It needs to be made of plastic or metal or what?
It's made out of plastic with metal, blades that you could use.
You'd have to find a factory that could produce the parts, and maybe you have to find 2 or 3 different. One producing the metal thing, one producing the plastic holder. Very likely that would be the case. And then you got to have it assembled somewhere.
Oh, really? That sounds like a lot.
Sure.
And I really don't have the money for that.
Well, then you're stuck.
You have to start. Yeah.
I mean, let's face it. You can't walk in with just an idea. You gotta most cases prove that somebody is willing to buy this thing. That means you have some made up, and you advertise them, and you hustle them, and demonstrate them the way I've described, if it's demonstratable.
Well, yeah, I could make up, a few hundred, but
Well, make up a few hundred and see if anybody's willing to buy them.
And then what? Like, what would you suggest? Go to like different.
Well, see, if you can go to a manufacturer, a mass manufacturer,
yeah,
and say, look, I demonstrated these in 7 departments, or not department. Well, it could be department stores too, but probably a food outlet. Or I took them to Atlantic City, New Jersey on a boardwalk, or Galveston, Texas, or someplace like that. And we sold 2027 with so many demonstrations at so much money. And you can document that. Now you got something that may capture somebody's attention because, A, you've demonstrated that the product has some marketability. But you just walk in with a set of sketches or even a prototype. Well, that's nice. I mean, I guess it does grate the cheese. I wonder if anybody else is going to think so.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, I'm looking there. It's not what you know. I'm looking at you. See, you came into my office with this idea. I'm in the utensil business. Now, maybe I'm very perceptive, but I'd be a whole lot more impressed if you came in with some figures. That in the city of Rochester, of how many 100,000 people, we sold 4,000, 5,000 units, and this is how we sold it. Don't you think that would capture my attention a lot more quickly than you got a couple of these things under your coat and say, well, here's what I think the housewife's going to like?
Yeah. So maybe what I had to do is get a few people together and make up maybe 2,000 or 3,000 and try and sell them locally. Just maybe.
Well, I'm not sure if that's your number, but yeah, a substantial number. And then I think this is the kind of thing initially has to be demonstrated. Unless it is so clearly superior that anybody who grates cheese took one look at this and said, this is the best thing since ice cream. I think it's the kind of product most kitchen gadgets, and that's how that would be characterized, do best when demonstrated. That's where, of course, television has supplanted the local demonstration. I mean, you must watch television from time to time and see this stuff sold, do you not?
Yeah.
Or either it's part of another mix or sold on its own if it'll stand. But that's the way you persuade somebody to take it over. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. Dean, Florida. Hello there. Welcome to Talknet.
Hello, Bruce.
Hi.
First of all, I want to thank you for all the great things that I've learned in the many years that I've been listening to you.
Well, thanks very much. That's always appreciated.
Well, thank you. This one has got me stumped, Bruce. Last February, I called up a company that advertises teaching language courses.
You say you mean this February 1990?
Yes.
Okay.
And in the course of the conversation, I needed to learn Indonesian for my business.
Indonesian?
Yes.
My goodness.
And
I hope you have a good language facility.
Well, I do. In the course of the conversation, I mentioned to the man that I was talking to that I speak Spanish and Portuguese.
Mm-hmm.
And
I'm impressed.
And he said, well, I think that we may be able to do some business. I have a lawyer in town here who needs some Portuguese translated in a court case.
Mm-hmm.
So I hired on to this and went and...
Well, wait, I'm confused. You called them to learn a language, right?
Yes.
And all of a sudden they're using you to...
Yeah, the guy said, hey, I need a translator, and if you speak the language, I'd like to hire you to do it.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't have anything to do in the next couple of days, and I went and did it. And
for the attorney?
For this attorney who, well, it was actually for this company who had sent me to the attorney to work for him.
Yeah, okay.
So this was several days of translating, and at the end of it, I sent them a report on what I had done with the bill for my services, as we had agreed.
How much?
Close to $500.
All right.
And so 1 month went by. I called several times and said, what's happening with this? And they said, oh, well, we just have made a mistake here, and we'll...
Yeah, the check's in the mail.
So then I went off to Indonesia for a couple of months and came back. Spent another month trying to get in touch with these people. Never returned my telephone calls. Finally, I said to... they have a woman who answers the phone and then says, I'll have this such and such person call you back.
Sure, who never seems to be there to call you back.
Never calls back. And finally I said to this receptionist that unless I heard from this man within the next week, that I was going to file in small claims court, which I did. And paid the fee for having the papers served and everything, and went to court for the pretrial hearing yesterday, and the judge said there was no evidence that the papers had been served. So
who is supposed to execute service? The sheriff's department?
Yes, the sheriff's department, who I learned hires companies that do process serving. So, and through a series of telephone calls to the company that's supposed to serve the papers, I learned that this company is reasonably famous in the process serving business because
they're beating lots of people, huh?
Right. It's just an office with a secretary there who answers the phone, and in order to serve the papers, they need to find an officer of the company who never shows up there.
That's not necessarily true, to the best of my knowledge.
Well, that's what the sheriff said.
Well, this is a corporation, is it not?
Well, I'm not sure.
Well, then let's back up. You can't have an officer unless you have a corporation.
Okay.
So if you have an officer, there's a corporation someplace.
Well, okay.
Well, hear me out.
Okay.
And if there's a corporation, they have to have what's called a registered agent, and you can serve the registered agent. And the registered agent, because the registered agent's name has to be on file with the Secretary of State in your state.
What if it's not a corporation?
Well, then you don't have officers.
And in that case, then they could serve the secretary.
No, not necessarily. It's serve a principal. First of all, you got to find out what you're dealing with here.
Okay, well, it doesn't say incorporated.
It doesn't have to in some states. I don't know if yours does or not. First, if it's not a corporation, then it's a DBA. If it's a DBA, you go to the county courthouse and find out who the principals of the trade style. Who is allowed to use this name?
Allowed to use what?
There's a fictitious name here, is there not?
Yes.
All right. There's only two ways you can have a fictitious name that I know of. One, to have a corporation. Then it's no longer fictitious. It's the name of the corporation. Or two, you can adopt a trade style by registering it with a county where you are doing your business.
Gotcha.
That's called a DBA, doing business as.
Yep.
In the former case, you have to have a registered agent. The registered agent does not necessarily have to be. It is usually an attorney. A permanent address where just for that reason, so you can serve people. You serve the registered agent. Or, alternatively, if it's a DBA, then you find out who they are, what their address is, and so on and so forth, who the individuals are. That would be on file with your county clerk.
Okay.
Now, that's the only two ways that I know you can have a fictitious name.
Great.
Well, I assume it is a fictitious name. It's like the John Jones Company or
well, no, it has a real fancy name.
All right, but it's not somebody's. It isn't like Bruce Williams.
No.
It is some Lingabixie or something. Well, that's called a fictitious name.
Right.
Those are the routes that I would travel if I were you.
Okay.
Take good care, Ken.
I'll give it a shot.
All righty.
Thanks a lot, Bruce.
Now, if there's an attorney out there that wants to add to, detract from, take exception to, you know the number, 212-245-6040. That's 212, or confirm, 212-245-6040. It's my understanding, corporation has to have a registered agent, usually, but not necessarily an attorney, depending on the jurisdiction. You can serve the registered agent. A business trade style must be registered with the county, and then the addresses of the principals who are using this fictitious name have to be on file there. Sustain me, step on me. 212-245-6040. Me, I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. Well, either I'm dead wrong, dead right, but we didn't have any contributors. If you're an attorney and you want to comment, 212-245-6040. In the meantime, I'm moving on to Dallas. Hello there.
Good evening, Bruce.
Hi.
How you doing?
I am just fine, thanks.
Excellent. I want to call you and get some of your excellent advice prior to a problem happening.
Let's talk.
My company is moving my wife and I to Washington, D.C. for 18 to 24 months.
We own a temporary move, huh?
It's a temporary move, yes, sir.
Then you'll be going back to the Metroplex,
back to Texas, yes,
okay.
sir. We own a home in Texas. It's it's a fairly nice home that we intend to move back to. We want to lease our home out to some responsible individuals.
Okay. Furnished or unfurnished?
Unfurnished.
Okay.
No problem. Pardon me?
No problem so far.
Okay. We have a leasing agent in mind that we'd like to go through.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted to get some of your tips for leasing out a home, some of the pitfalls to avoid.
Well, there's no great expertise required. Having a leasing agent who I assume is a managing agent, not just a leasing agent.
Yes, sir.
They can take care of the leaky faucet or whatever, because you're sitting there 1,000 miles away. It's kind of tough to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And what are they going to charge you for that?
I believe it's 10% of the monthly rent.
That's about right. Yeah. The thing is that this is a very temporary situation we're describing here.
Yeah.
And my personal inclination would be to lean toward the individual rather than the number of dollars. Or put another way, I'd rather get $100 a month less, or $1,800 over the time period, if I could attract someone who is especially responsible.
Okay.
I mean, I'd be very selective is what it comes down to. Now, you can't keep people out because of their age or their gender or their ethnicity, all that kind of stuff. But you can certainly set very strict standards that apply across the board.
Okay.
And I want all kinds of credit credentials and you know what you're looking for, the kind of people you're looking for, and you know what you're not looking for.
Exactly.
I mean, you don't want somebody with 4 pet orangutans.
Yes, for sure.
I like pets, but I mean, there are some limits. I assume that this is a pretty decent home from what you said. How much would this rent for?
It would probably rent for the range of about $1,000 a month.
Okay.
Our house payment is about 50% more than that.
How much is the house worth right now?
It's $155,000.
Worth today?
Yes, sir.
You sell it tomorrow morning for $155.
We've had estimates between $150 and $160. So.
Well, then you're renting it for about 2/3 of what it should rent for. It should rent for $1,500 based upon value.
Oh, okay. I was not aware of that.
Oh, but that doesn't mean you can rent it for that.
Right.
But that's what it should rent for.
That's what it should rent for.
1% of the value per month.
We're in a position where we don't have to get the full monthly payment, but...
That's why I suggested to you I'd rather take less.
Okay.
And find somebody that's very responsible.
We'll try to do that. Should we rely on the rental agent to recommend the people?
If it's possible, if you're going to be around for a while, I'd want to... that's what you're paying them for, but I'd want to meet people. See, this is not a business proposition. It's business, clearly.
Right.
But it's not a pure business proposition.
No, we don't intend to do this for a living.
Mm-hmm. I would definitely want to meet the person in advance. I want to be part of that rental process.
Okay.
And you may have to juice the rental agent's fee up a little bit because he doesn't want that.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to get it in quick and dirty.
Sure. Make as much as they can.
Well, also his time is a problem too.
Mm-hmm.
I wish you well, my friend.
Thank you very much, Bruce.
Take good
care.
Have
a good evening.
I shall indeed. Orlando, what's on your mind?
Yes, Bruce, this is Jim.
Yes, sir.
I'm a process server here in Central Florida.
Uh-huh.
And the way it works is the registered agent has to be there between 10 and 12, 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, at the place of business.
Is it more often than not an attorney?
Well, a lot of them are attorneys.
I mean, and they have their office as the principal office.
That's right. It may be an attorney. Whoever that registered agent is has to be there between 10 and 12.
5 days a week.
5 days a week, Monday through Friday.
And they have to accept service.
They have to accept service.
Right.
Now, if they're not there, you can sub-serve it to a member or employee of the corporation.
I suppose there's nobody there at all.
If there's nobody there, then you got to come back and keep looking for them.
Well, I thought they had to be there.
They're supposed to by statute, but there's no penalty if they're
There's no penalty if they're not there, huh?
Yeah.
Terrific. Now, what do you do about it's a DBA, a trade style?
Okay, a DBA is, then you've got to look for an individual. And you were exactly right. You go to the county and find out who are the principals of that DBA.
Mm-hmm. Now, do you have to serve personally, or can you tack it on their front door?
You have to serve them personally. The only things that you can tack on the front door are notices to appear.
Mm-hmm. Now, can you serve anybody in the family or them?
Any blood relative, if you're serving at their house.
Over what age?
Over the age of 15.
Uh-huh. It's 14 someplace, that's why I asked.
Yeah. Over the age of 15 in the state of Florida.
Uh-huh.
And they don't even have to be a blood relative. For example, if they have a roommate that is also their permanent address, you can serve the roommate.
Or anybody who lives there permanently.
That's right.
Very well. Hey, thanks very much for sharing. I do appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Hang in there, kid.
Bye-bye.
You know, I keep saying this, but it's so true. That's what makes this thing work, because you guys and gals are so willing. Take your time, and in this case, you pay for the call to help us out, and I'm grateful. I'm Bruce Williams. Stick around for more. This is Talknet. Douglas, Alabama. Thanks for your patience. What's on your mind?
Well, Bruce, it's perfect for us except for one problem.
One minor problem.
Well, it's not so minor. There's a serious crack in the basement wall.
Serious. I like that word.
Yeah. The owner says it happened when they first built the house, that before the landscaping was done, there was a big rain, and that it hasn't moved an inch since.
Have you had a serious engineer look at it?
Yeah, we had a contractor look at it. Said he wouldn't touch it for less than $5,000 to replace the wall. He said that he thought that if it happened right after they first built the house, that the owner would have gone back on the original contractor to do something about it.
Well, that may or may not be the case, but that's not an issue. How old is the house?
It's 12 years old.
All right. How much you paying for the house, or how much is?
They're asking $128.
Well, would you be willing to buy it if they fix the wall?
Yeah.
Well, tell them that.
Okay.
It's a seller's buyer's market right now. I mean, as a practical matter, how old are you guys?
We're in our early 30s.
All right, then you're young people and you've got strong backs and probably a little extra time. It doesn't require brain surgery to replace a basement wall. It really doesn't.
I guess one thing that the contractor suggested to us, that maybe we could get the owners to take a second on it with, like, perhaps a balloon payment at the end of 5 years that would $5,000, and use that as kind of leverage in case the wall doesn't crash. That's
nonsense. If you got a bad crack in the wall, it should be replaced.
Okay, so just
But there are a couple of ways you could do that. Is this a usable basement?
It's never going to be able to be finished now. It's a funny shape.
Well, in that case, what you could do is just put a parallel wall. Brand new wall.
And that would run less than a...
run less than...
Jacking it up and putting all that on.
Well, you still have to jack it up a little bit to bring the house back down on it. But, I mean, it would be no... We talked about this on a previous show in a little different situation. Well, I guess it was a termite problem, all right? But I would be willing to wager you could do... How long is this wall?
It's fairly long.
That's a lovely dimension. Hey, it's fairly long.
The house is 2,800 main base, so I don't know how long that wall is.
Well, I don't know either. You're sitting there looking at it.
Yeah, I'm not good at distances.
How many courses of cinder block? How high?
It's probably a good. The crack runs probably a good.
No, not the crack. The whole wall.
I don't know. I'm not good at that, so I'm sorry.
Well, you can, again, this is without making a federal case out of this, okay? The likelihood is that it would not be that difficult a job to use screw jacks, take the weight off the bearing wall, remove a good section of the wall that is diseased, all right? Put a new section in with, see, I would overbill, but I tend to do that. Whereas if I were doing this, do-it-yourself project, I'd be running reinforcing rod down, around, through, back through, and I'll bet you I could do the whole thing for under $1,000 over a weekend.
Oh, you can come out and do it for us then.
No, unfortunately or fortunately, my days of doing that stuff is pretty much out of the way. And it's kind of unfortunate because I used to enjoy that stuff. I really, once a year, and I'm not going to get too deeply involved in this because it's my friends and neighbors know that's enough, all right? But I have a little business I'm involved with, and once a year, I get out there, let my beard grow, and spend 2 or 3 or 4 days out there in my jumpsuit, and old boots and whatever, and waiting on customers, and I get a big kick out of that. Now, clearly, I can't afford to do that, but I do it, been doing it, and I'm going to continue to do it as long as I'm moderately healthy. And it's the sort of thing that you're talking about, I still would get a kick out of doing. Unfortunately, there's a certain amount of value placed upon my time that just doesn't allow me to do those things.
Well, thank you.
But I'd still enjoy it. But I would not necessarily not buy the home, but I would get a concession from them to be able to repair the thing.
Okay. Well,
and if you're working on a little bit of a tight budget, it's the kind of thing you guys could do yourself. I don't think the house is going to collapse tomorrow morning.
No, not fallen down yet. So.
Indeed. But, I mean, it's not that big. It might be kind of fun. I think it'd be kind of an adventure to do that sort of thing. We talked about this, I said, a night or two ago. There's so many things that they tell you that can't be done, but with a little bit of ingenuity, you can do it, and you can do it geometrically cheaper than the professionals will tell you, and do a perfectly acceptable job.
Okay, I appreciate the advice, and we've listened to you long enough to know that you've got a lot of good advice on buying a home.
Good luck with your new home.
Okay, thank you.
I wish you well. Yeah, a lot of that stuff. I still enjoy that kind of stuff. You know, they're trying to, not the pedestrian, you know, put siding on a house, paint it. I hope I never have to paint another house. So I've done a bunch of those. But when you get to the different kind of task, I'll tell you another story. Cute. I owned a building. This is not too long ago. And the chimney is really tilting out. It's got a real mean lean to it. So we're sitting there, my friend Jim and I, scheming this thing out, because we have put chimneys back together again. We jacked them up from the base. You put a wood framing up against it so it doesn't crack, and gently put the whole... Finally, I'm laying there looking at this thing. About 3 days later, I'm still doing this mental engineering, you understand? And I called Jim. I said, get over here. He said, let's talk about this. Jim, what does that chimney do? He said, well, I said, I was looking at the whole building. I know that chimney over there is taking care of the furnace. And I know that chimney over there. What is that? Turns out this chimney hasn't been connected to anything for 25 years. It's just sitting there. Next thing we do, we go up there and drop a 2x4 down the chimney on a rope to give us a lot of leverage. Put 3 or 4 guys on the end of the rope, and boom, down came the chimney. But we're sitting there scheming to put this chimney back up that hasn't had a piece of smoke going up in a quarter of a century. It shows you the brain surgeon you're dealing with here. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. We go off and running to Cleveland, Ohio. Hello there.
Hello, Bruce. How are you doing tonight?
Good. HK Country. What can I do for you?
Yes. Here's my situation. I'm a computer consultant right now. I'm doing it part-time, working full-time during the day. Mm-hmm. All my clients up to this point have been mostly training, so it's been very easy to price them out at a per-hour charge.
Training other people within a firm to do a certain function?
Right, within other companies, mostly to use the software and the hardware that I'm training people on.
I see, okay.
So it's been small projects, so it's been very easy to do that way. Well, with the contacts I've built up and the reputation I've made, I have a chance to get a contract that for hardware alone is going to be well over $100,000. My question comes in, I really don't want to charge by the hour because of a contract that size, but my question is, what type of flat fee would be fair?
I have no way of knowing that. What will the traffic bear? That's the answer to that.
Okay.
I mean, there's no flat answer to that, and no one outside your industry could even take a shot at an answer.
Okay.
I think you have to figure out, what does it cost me to provide the service? Mm-hmm. And you say $100,000. What does that mean?
Well, that would be the approximate cost of the hardware that they're buying. That doesn't include
that they're buying, not buying from you.
Right. I don't sell the hardware.
That's not. No, enough said. That they're buying from you. They're buying from somebody. $100,000.
Right.
I don't think that even enters into things. How much effort do you have to put into this endeavor on their behalf?
Okay. Well, what I'll be doing is I'll be speccing the hardware.
No, you don't answer my question. You don't answer my question. How much effort do you have to put into the thing? How many? And your effort is generally expressed
in hours.
Exactly. How many hours?
Probably all told from the time
from the get-go
begin until the time it's installed, not including the training.
From the get-go, everything. Your investment in your body clock. How much?
Probably about 40 to 80 hours altogether.
Well, that's a heck of a range. It's 100% difference.
Yeah, I know. It's because I really haven't sat down and talked to them exactly as to what they need.
Well, you're going to have to before you can quote them.
I realize that.
See, a percentage, if you came to me and you want a percentage of the deal, I'm going to be very upset about that.
Mm-hmm.
Because why? Because if I'm happen to be spending a whole ton of money on something that you have nothing to do with, other than you're going to come in and trade, what difference does it make in terms of your expense whether this box costs $10 or $10 million?
Oh no, to them.
So, wait a minute.
Okay, go ahead.
So yeah, but the guy's going to look at you and say, why?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have to, most time, I don't know about it, maybe not, but I'll tell you, when somebody quotes me a figure, I'm going to say, well, how did you come by that? You better have an answer.
Right. Okay, well,
So the cost of the hardware is not material, in my view.
Mm-hmm.
It has nothing to do with anything. It's you have to provide a specific service, whatever that is. And there's a cost of providing that service, and on top of that cost, you're entitled to a profit. That's your number.
Okay, I guess I was thinking of it in the way that, say, like architects and that do. A lot of times they will charge or base their fee upon the total cost of the project.
Yeah, but there's a difference there.
Yeah.
The difference is that there is a correlation between the cost of the project and their cost of providing the service. It certainly costs a whole lot more to supervise a $10 million building than a $2 million building.
Right.
But there doesn't cost you any more if I go out and buy a mainframe for $10 million or one for $5 million. You're going to come in and train my people. I can't imagine it costs you any more or any less.
Right. Well, it's the number of people, and also I'll be installing more systems.
But that's a different matter. The number of people is a variable. It does affect you. Does it not?
That's true, yeah.
But so we only have to, and I'm into an area I don't know anything about, clearly.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm trying to get to in terms of computers, what I'm getting to is you should only be taking into account those variables that affect the service or the product that you are providing. Or put it another way, if the guy spent $50 million in a computer and there was one guy, that's all you had to train was one guy.
Mm-hmm.
Would you be entitled to a huge fee because it was a $50 million system? On the other hand, if the guy put in a PC for $5,000 and he needed 200 people trained, would you be willing to do it for next to nothing because it's only $10,000 investment?
Right.
Clearly
not. See, that's why I'm keeping the training of it separate.
Well, but what you're missing the point altogether.
No, I see what you're saying.
His investment has nothing to do with you.
Right.
It's what it's going to cost you to provide the service and make a fair profit.
Okay.
That's your number.
I guess my question was, is there, in your experience, have you seen anything that gives...
I have seen PC stuff.
Well, not even just in PC, just say in business consulting, that where they would...
Look, some guys are worth $1,000, $2,000 an hour.
And others are worth $1.
And that's right. Some attorneys are worth $60 an hour, and some are worth $600. There is nothing absolute about that. But there was some time ago in my state, attorneys used to take money when they did a bond issue on a percentage of the bond issue. Okay.
Right.
If they floated $1 million, they got so much, 10 million, so much more. And I was involved in politics at that time. And I started screaming about the percentage take because I thought that was a stinky way to do business. And finally, the law was revised in our state. Can't do that anymore.
So really, everything just based on what you're...
It should be based upon the amount of energy and effort you have to put into the project, and the value of your expertise. But why in the world is it? Would it cost 20 times as much to do a $20 million bond issue as $1 million if the work was exactly or almost exactly the same? Right. Doesn't make any sense, and the same thing is true in your business.
Okay.
I wish you well, my friend.
Very good. Thanks a lot.
Make a ton of money. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. Hey, Sarasota, how are you?
Hi, how are you? I'm Joe.
Yeah, Joe, what's on your mind?
Well, came home today, was mad as a hornet, had a note on the door from the water company that they turned off my water for non-payment. I wanted to ask you if you thought this was reasonable.
Did you pay him?
Yep.
Before?
Sent him a check on March the 30th.
March the 30th?
Right. Sent him a check on April the 20th.
Wait a minute.
Sat down and made out my bills last night.
Hold on now, hold on.
Another check.
Hold on now. Were you way behind or something?
No.
You pay him once a month for water?
My monthly water bill.
Yeah, that's unusual. Most places, water bills are quarterly or semi-annually.
Well, they bill us monthly.
So you paid them when did you pay the last bill?
Well, I just wrote one out last night, but the last one that I sent was April the 20th.
How far behind were you?
Wasn't behind at all.
Well, I think that's absurd.
Well,
they turn them off. They turn them off. You're 2 weeks late.
This is what I thought. They acknowledged the receiving the payment that I sent out on 3/30 on the April bill.
And how about the April check? They acknowledged that?
They did not acknowledge that one.
Did it clear?
No, it did not clear. Now, I received a notice from them saying that this was the final notice. Please disregard this notice if above amount has been paid. So I disregarded it.
Right.
I paid it. So they shut the water off today. So I didn't think you'd think that was reasonable, but I was even more angry when I called on the phone. It was about 6 o'clock in the evening, got the answering service.
Naturally.
They didn't identify themselves as the answering service, but the woman was extremely rude and said, "You didn't pay your bill." I said, "I'd like to speak to somebody about this. I don't want to talk to the person that answered the phone." And she said, "Well, this is the answering service." I said,
"Lovely.
I said, "You're authorized to tell me that I didn't pay my bill?" And she hung up on me.
Huh. What do you have? Some little. See, if I remember, in Florida, you have a lot of times you have a whole bunch of little utilities here than the other place.
Lots of little ones.
Is this a little dinky utility?
Yeah. So then I called back again and I said, "Look, would you have somebody from the company call me, please?"
I only got about 15 seconds. What was the outcome?
Well, the guy from the company called me and said, "There's nothing I can do. You have to call in the morning." Well, I've got a wife here. And
you get a plumber that has a long handle on the thing. He can turn the water back on again.
Thank you. I figured that out.
Did you turn it back on?
I did.
Of course. I mean, for crying out loud.
Just thought I'd, ask you what you thought about that.
Oh, I get the long handle, too.
Yeah. Now they're going to charge me a reconnect.
Well, that's something we could talk about another time. And I'd be arguing about that, too. It seems to me they ought to notify you at least once by phone. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. We got Cliff Country. It's Dallas, Texas. Hello there.
Hello.
Hello, sweetheart. What's on your mind?
Hi, Bruce. Really enjoy hearing you, and I'd like your suggestions on an idea I have.
Shoot.
Okay. I have an idea for marketing a business, and the business is this. It's like getting hold of international visitors or just travelers, and having a business where I kind of do babysitting for their kids if they need babysitting, take them on a tour of Dallas. I could do an educational tour. I could take them shopping, or I could do shopping for them, and that sort of thing. I had a little business like this where it was called the Detail Shop. And I did it mainly just for some friends, and I never did go any further with it. But what I'd really like to do is kind of like I said, corner the travelers that are coming into town.
Well, how do you plan on reaching them?
Well, that's what I meant. See, the hotels have these guides that have all the restaurants to eat at.
Yes, they do.
And if the
travel host is usually the name of it, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And if the people are rich enough, they're probably just going to pick up the phone, hire a limousine, and all that.
Well, not necessarily. First of all, they got to know who to call.
Right.
And do you travel at all?
Well, yes.
Well, if you stay at a nice hotel and you got a problem, who do you talk to?
To the person at the information desk.
Who?
The lady there's a lady that sits at the desk. And
what do they call that lady?
I'm sorry, I can't remember.
They call it concierge, right?
Concierge, right.
Right.
Okay.
And that's the person you want to talk to, because they're in a position to recommend a ton of business. People come to them with problems.
Well,
where do I get a baby squatter? How do I get a doctor?
I did go to them, and they said no, that I could not leave my cards there, and that I could. They would not let me.
Why?
Advertise in any way. They just said that it was against the policy of the hotel.
Well, did you talk to anybody? That's usually a relatively low-level employee. Did you talk to the manager of the hotel?
No, I didn't.
Well, that's who you want to talk to. You say, I got a good service here, and it doesn't cost you guys anything. But no matter when any of your guests come to your folks and say, where do I find a babysitter? One number to call. Where do I find a tour guide? One number to call. Where do I find the best shopping malls and the Best Buy? One number to call.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, you don't expect that kid to make that decision, do you? I mean, she's not in a position to do that.
Who would I ask for? The
general manager.
General manager.
The GM.
GM. Okay.
That's what they call them.
Okay.
They have all these crazy little titles. On the weekend, they have an MOD. That's not the mod squad. It's the manager on duty.
Okay. One more question, and then I'll let you go. If I wanted to expand this just to kind of a general detail shop again where I hit just the general run-of-the-mill people.
How do you?
Where would you advertise?
Well, first of all, you see, you've been very, very loose in your description.
Okay.
We're gonna. I've said this so many times, so I'm going to try to consolidate it though a little bit. I'm trying to say it briefly. All right. Before you can decide how you reach someone, you got to decide who you're trying to reach. Now, you just said, well, the general people. That's not good enough. You got to be much more narrow.
First of all, it was travelers, and then second, if I can't capture them, maybe it would just be the rich people who can afford my service.
But you don't have to be rich to afford it. And secondly, you've got to be more specific than that.
Okay, well, how?
For example, let me tell you. For example, you said help with shopping. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Who are you going to help with shopping? Women?
Some little lady.
Men? Well, now you're starting to narrow down.
Or some man who doesn't want to.
Now you're also starting to narrow down. But you've got to focus, you see. You just can't say all men, because certainly 80% of all men would have no interest in that.
That's right.
But you got to, or either by virtue of the fact they couldn't afford it or wouldn't care.
Right.
But the 20%, that's your target. Let's figure out who they are.
Mm.
You got to know what the duck looks like before you can take a shot at it.
Yeah.
You got to know the profile of your target. Well, you got to figure that out.
Okay.
It may be the busy executive that has just too much. It may be the executive secretary who is sick and tired of her boss saying, pick up a present for my wife.
Right.
Well, that's the kind of people that you got to focus on. Once you focus on them, then we can talk about how to find them. But until you identify the target, it's pretty hard to pick out a gun to take a shot at with them. Dig? I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. We're off and running to Motor City, USA, Detroit, Michigan. Hello there.
Hi, Bruce. How you doing?
I'm doing very, very well, thank you.
First-time caller, long-time listener.
On WXYT.
That's us up here.
Yes, indeed.
I realize you're not a lawyer, but I wanted to ask you a question, ask your opinion on the situation I'm in. Went to work for a company about 3 years ago, and I'm in the sales game. And
what is it you sell?
Sell trucking services.
All right.
Became their top salesman about 2 years, or year and a half into my tenure with the place.
Super.
And ran into some problems with the boss along the way. Just had a little bit of a rocky relationship, but we continued to work together. And about 3 months ago, I decided that I was given another offer by a competitive firm to join their company, and thought about it seriously and decided that I was going to be doing it. So I gave my notice to my boss. It's a privately held company. And he tried to talk me out of it all day. It was a Friday. I gave him notice. And during the talk, basically he didn't want my answer then. He said, you were thinking of going on vacation. I was going down to Florida. He said, you got a company credit card as a little bit of a spur to, how can I say this, to entice me to stay with the company. He said, use the credit card while you're down there. Don't worry about it. They'll give you some money. And I thought it was a real nice thing. Went down there, used the credit card, and charged up about $1,100 worth of charges.
You really used it, didn't you?
Well, what can I say, Bruce?
Smoking plastic.
And when I got back, I talked to him some more and saw that some of the things just couldn't change, and the decision was made, so I decided to leave. He has since decided to sue me, for the $1,100. And basically, it's his word against mine.
Let's go back and review the bidding here a little bit. He said to you, on a Friday afternoon, look, I don't want you, I'd like to keep you. I don't want to make a decision right now. You're going on vacation.
Right.
Take the company credit card, and did he give you any limitations?
No, he just said go out there and he says have a good time with the family, enjoy yourself.
Man, I want to hear that story. For a couple of, how long ago did this all take place?
It happened about 2 months ago.
Because the both of you, are a little bit vulnerable here. You less than he, because you realize that you have to declare that as income.
Mm-hmm.
That's got to go on your tax return, but you haven't filed one yet.
Not yet.
On the other side of that, I'm not at all sure he has a right to do that with a company credit card. He's probably paid the bill with a company check. Mm-hmm. I think he may be a little vulnerable there.
Oh, okay.
Because that's hardly a business expense. Now, I suppose it could be argued that it was an inducement to keep a valued employee, and maybe you get past the IRS with that. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But I wouldn't pay him unless he's taking you at small claims court?
He's taking me to small claims court, and I got served papers and a little bit on the whole thing.
Go defend yourself.
Oh, do you think it's, what I'm worried about is it's his word against mine?
Well, what's your first name?
Dennis.
Dennis, two possibilities here. Three, really. One, you just give them the money back. That ends the problem. Two, you go to court and you win, you don't give them the money back. Three, you go to court and you lose and you give them the money back. How are you any worse off from position number 3 to position number 1?
Well, part of the suit also says that he wants, whatever his lawyer fees and everything, too, because he's got a lawyer involved.
I doubt seriously, but I don't know if the court would give him that.
Really? Now, what would you do if you were in my position?
I would go to court.
You go to court?
Yep.
Okay.
I'd say, if he's accusing me of a crime, let him charge me with a crime.
Okay.
He's the guy that told me to do this. Now, he may or may not. I hope he's honorable enough to admit that he did it, but I can't help that. But he told me as an inducement to stay, this is what I should do. He didn't tell me that if I did it, I had to stay. Mm-hmm. I did it. He took his shot and he lost.
Okay.
That's what I'd tell him. I would not pay. If it's as you've described, there's no way in the world I'd do that.
Okay, yeah, because I'm just worried when we get there he might change the story and say I'm young.
Oh, he very well may.
Yeah.
In fact, I think I'd start with a proposition. He's going to come to court and lie.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so if I go there in there with that idea, just to talk and tell you exactly what I told you.
You look at the judge right in his baby blues. Mm-hmm. Don't look at the lawyer. Look at the judge. Mm-hmm. Look at his baby blues. This is the way it is. Serious.
I appreciate it.
Take good care, kid.
Thanks a lot.
St. Louis, Missouri, it is your turn on Talknet. Hello there.
Hi, Bruce.
Hello.
They tell me there's noise on the line. I hope you can hear me.
I can hear you. Are you the noise?
No, I'm not. I don't hear it on my end.
Only kidding, kid. What's up?
Well,
we'd prefer you didn't mention names.
Okay.
If you don't mind.
Well, I've got a problem.
Go ahead.
I've got a MasterCard and a Visa.
Okay.
Different banks.
All right.
Have a 25 to a 27-day grace period. Both of them are in collection at this point, and I'm constantly getting calls from the collection department.
Why is that?
Well, because I'm a little behind in my payments.
You're a lot behind if you start getting collection calls.
Well, 60 days and you're behind.
That's a lot behind.
I understand that. I'm caught up now.
All right.
However, when the collection man calls me or the collection lady calls me, I send my money immediately.
But you wait for the call, though.
I wait for the call because I very seldom open my mail.
Yeah, you're a real winner. Go ahead.
Well, okay, so I'm within my, I tell them I'm going to mail it, blah, blah, blah. I mail it, and I'm out of collection, and I'll mail my next payment so that it gets there the 23rd day. I have 25 days grace period. All right?
Yeah, I'm listening.
I send it express. It gets there on the 24th day, but it never gets posted for 2 or 3 days later.
That is not unusual. Then they want to say you're late.
They admit to receiving it, but they tell me, sorry, you still get the late charge.
Nonsense.
Charges.
Nonsense.
I've got, occasionally, I get the late charge off, but never the extra interest.
I wouldn't pay it.
How do I get out of it?
Just tell them I'm not going to pay it. I have a receipt here. My contract, first of all, with a guy like you, because you've been chronically late, your argument is weak. If someone called who is always on time, and theirs wasn't posted for 3 days, I would promise you they'd take it off in a heartbeat. But you're chronically late.
I understand that.
So nobody's going to believe you.
Well, I have my proof.
Well, I understand that, but still nobody's going to believe you. Even to go back over the proof, they say this.
How you doing tonight?
I'm doing very, very well, thank you. What's on your mind?
Well, I seem to have a problem I've never heard you address.
What's that?
I lost my job yesterday. I was looking for another job, and my boss found out about it. And I'm in management in graphic arts. I worked for a company that specialized in desktop publishing and electronic graphics.
Let me back up. In other words, you were looking for a job while you're employed, and your boss kind of got his ear to the ground and said, your history.
Right. And what's happened was I am kind of a unique person in this field. I have a lot of computer background, a lot of artistic background. So it's kind of strange to find somebody with that combination. And he is kind of, we've been really close.
Well, why were you leaving?
Well, first of all, he hired my ex-boyfriend in the wintertime and to work, and he was under me, and that was a very difficult situation.
Well, did he know it was your ex-boyfriend?
Yes.
I mean, he hired him when he was an ex, not when he was a current?
No, he was a current at the time.
Oh. Well, I mean, but you brought that one on yourself then.
Well, not really. I was out of town when he did it. So.
Wait. Let me back up. Let me back up. He hired your boyfriend. You were an item at the time.
Right.
And you were out of town. You came back, and all of a sudden your boyfriend's working for you?
Exactly.
Well, he wasn't too bright. Now, he never consulted with you?
No. He just thought I would love it. But anyway, he and his wife own the business, and there's a lot of emotional instability, very highs and lows. He's a very emotional person, and he's very difficult to deal with sometimes. People in this background, in this field really are, but it's a more extreme situation.
All right.
Lots of real negative tension in the office, and I'm used to kind of a calm, lots of positive kind of stress. That fuels me, but not fighting and, constant conflicts. I don't like that.
All right.
So I've heard about people who have held my position in the past, and they've always met a guillotine end, as it were.
Okay.
And I was trying to find a quiet way out, and I wanted to cleanly, and, I didn't want to go with even a client of ours or a competitor of ours. I was trying to find something that was completely safe.
Okay, he found out and he said, honey child, you are history.
That's right.
Probably not that nicely.
No, they were not that nicely. In fact, a lot of my belongings are still there. I haven't even gotten them yet. Mm-hmm. And he told me to come back and pick my checkup today, which is the day I was supposed to get paid. Mm-hmm. And I called him to see if it was ready, and he told me that I wouldn't be getting one.
Why?
Well, he said that he has given me some advances over the past year, but he has always taken them out, let me explain one thing to you. For 7 to 8 months, I worked approximately 65 to 75 hours a week on a regular basis. With no extra compensation. And occasionally he would give me a bonus or a little compensation, $50, $100, but not anything nearly to compensate what the time I was putting in. Mm-hmm. And occasionally, if he gave me an advance, he would say, well, just consider this overtime or just consider this a bonus or whatever.
Did you pay the advances back?
Yes, he took a lot of them out of my checks, but a lot of them he told me they were bonuses. He never wrote advance or bonus on the checks he wrote me, though. Mm-hmm. He just wrote me a check. It's not a very large company. He has about 20 employees. So he does the checks himself, either by the computer or by handwriting.
Well, hold on now. He did some of this stuff last year. Is that correct?
Right.
All right. Now, did you declare all that stuff on your income tax?
Yes.
Okay. You're clean then.
Okay.
All right.
The second thing was he said that they were all advances. In fact, he just gave me a bonus out of the clear blue sky for selling some extra printing work it was paycheck before last, about 6 weeks ago.
And all of a sudden he's decided this is no longer a bonus, it's money it's owed?
Right. And, I'm in complete shock because I don't know how to prove either way. I don't see how he can prove they were advances.
Well, hold on. Over how long a period of time was this?
Since last August, September. That's how long I've been working.
How much money's involved?
He said thousands today on the phone. I can't believe it's thousands. Like I said, I'm sure I can probably go back and piece together what he's given me, but everything he's given me, he's either taken back out of my check or he told me to forget about it because I had obviously working.
No, that's not the issue. The issue is a matter of proof here.
Right, exactly.
I would go down tomorrow morning and say, look, Charlie, I think you're acting emotionally. You know, and I know that I don't owe you a nickel. But if we go to court, this is going to be nasty.
Well, I told him that on the phone.
No, they tell him right in his little face. You say, if we go to court, this is going to be nasty. Because I'm going to accuse you of trying to swindle me. Because that's exactly what you're trying to do. And you know and I know it. And I may lose, but you're going to be the loser. Because the word's going to get around the industry very quickly. It already
has, and I really didn't understand that until the past few months I've been working there. There are a few companies that were vendors of ours that would now make us be COD. I didn't understand what was going on, and then I began to hear some stories and see some.
The guy has not the best reputation,
right?
But I would first of all do my homework tonight. Get your income tax returns out. You should be able to tell most of it from there, right?
Right.
Well, you get your income tax return out because the money should show there that he paid you. You declared it as income.
Right.
You don't declare loans as income.
Right.
You only declare monies that are paid to you. And since it was given to you, you declare it as income.
Right.
And then I go see him tomorrow morning. So here's the story. If I don't have a check when I walk out of here, my next stop is court.
Okay. Now, I'm sure he's probably going to say go, because I told him about a lawyer today. I said, do you want me to contact a lawyer? Is that what I have to do to be treated fairly? Mm-hmm. And he said, go do it. So what if I have to go do that? Should I go contact the labor board, or should I go to an attorney?
Well, you can talk to the labor board. You're right there in the state capitol. It's no big deal.
No, I'm not in Austin.
Oh, Austin. I'm sorry. What am I doing? I just moved the capital. Sorry about that, baby.
That's okay. I'd rather be in Austin anyway.
Pardon me?
I'd rather be in Austin anyway.
Well, you got flip. Yeah, they have a lot of good clubs over there. But anyway, I would see an attorney.
Okay.
Because I would see if you can move for damages, damage reputation, the whole routine.
Let me ask one more question.
Sure.
I mean, this is off the wall. I had not planned to take any of the clients with me, and I'd been very careful
I'd go after the clients, too. I'd play hardball with this cat.
Well, I really didn't want to, but now that
he started the war.
He accused me of that today. He accused me of, he thinks I have a big plan to do all this.
Well, then carry out the plan.
Well, some people have been calling me today, and they're really upset about me leaving, and no one there can do the kind of work for them that I would.
Carry out the plan. What more can I say to you?
Okay.
I'd go for his throat.
There's nothing illegal about that, right?
If there is, let him prove that.
Okay.
I'd go for his throat.
Okay.
Take good care.
Thanks a lot, Bruce.
All righty. You're very well. The guys like that deserve anything and everything they get. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. Indianapolis, Indiana. Hello there. Welcome to Talknet.
Yes, how are you?
I'm just fine, thank you.
Okay. Well, I have a problem. I bought a brand new truck back in 1984, and I had it rust-proofed by the dealer, and they gave me a lifetime rust-proofing warranty, which is pretty much nationwide now with most rust-proofing companies, I guess.
Lifetime?
Yes, it's a lifetime rust-proofing warranty. If it rusts out within the lifetime of the original owner, then they will fix or replace the rusted out area.
Is that right?
And I still own the truck, and I plan on owning it till it's pretty much the last dinosaur.
For your lifetime.
Yeah, for my, until it's...
Yeah, it's guys like you that make the warranty people go crazy.
Yeah, well, they made the warranty.
That's true.
And the problem is I have a rust-through condition in the tailgate now.
Yeah.
And the dealer no longer uses the rust-proofing product that he used at the time that he rust-proofed my truck.
Who gave the warranty, the company or you? Or the rust-proofing company give the warranty?
The rust-proofing company, not the dealer.
That's what I want to know.
So I called the rust-proofing company, who is based in Ohio, and it took 4 phone calls for me. They were supposed to return every phone call, which they did not.
Well, without regard to that, you got hold of them, and what happened?
I got hold of them, and they are real iffy about it.
What does that mean?
You know, they would rather see me buy a new vehicle, I believe.
Well, honest. What yes, of course. But you're not going to do that.
Oh, no, I don't want to do that at all. And so I'm wondering I already contacted Small Claims Court here in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
And they said that the rust-proofing company wants me to send photocopies of all my checkups. To keep the warranty up to date, I had to take it in at 10 months, 30 months, 50 months, and 70 months.
Did you do so?
I did all of that to keep my rust-proofing warranty up to date.
You're tough, I'll tell you. You are tough. Go ahead.
So I'm going to send them all of the photocopies of all of that.
Yeah.
But when I told him I had done all of that, he was...
aghast.
He almost sounded upset.
Sure, because they figure, sorry, Charlie, you missed inspection number 42 on Meridian Day, and you're out.
Yeah, but if they refuse to honor that warranty,
I'd go after the dealer.
$50, I can take them into Small Claims Court, and they said they would even subpoena people that are out of state.
Well, try it.
Do you think I should do something like that?
Well, certainly, but I'd name a dealer, too.
Okay.
He's the guy that took your money.
Well, it would be $29 just to subpoena the dealer.
I'd go after them both.
Extra $21 to subpoena the out-of-state.
I'd go after everybody in sight.
Yeah. Well, to replace the tailgate, it would only cost them $300 to replace the tailgate and paint it and everything.
Right.
And it seems to me that for all the trouble that they're going to go through...
That's exactly what you're going to do, cause them enough trouble where it's easier to wave the flag. What did you pay for this rust-proofing process?
$220, and that was 6 years ago, so I'm sure they've made more than that off of it.
No, well, not hardly, but $220 and you want a $300 deal?
Yeah.
You're tough.
Yeah.
Remind me if you're looking for a guarantee, I don't want to do business with you.
But you think I should...
Absolutely.
I should pressure them and make them stick to that?
Absolutely. Listen, I have no problem, but you're 100% right.
Okay.
Go get them.
Great. Thank you, Bruce.
Take good care.
Okay. Bye.
Those are the kind of guys who drive you crazy, though. They do all the things they're supposed to do, keep all the records and whatever. Nobody ever made any money on him. He's the kind of guy that would buy the warranty on the dehumidifier, you know? And, you know, oh, yeah, it's right here. I bought that in the old 36. Not Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. It's time to go to Tampa, Florida. Hello there.
Hi, Bruce. Thanks for taking my call.
Not at all. You guys make it happen. What's on your mind?
Well, I have this problem, and I need your advice. And I'm real nervous, so bear with me if I forget to tell you something.
Talk to me.
Okay, 2 weeks ago, I took my 83 car. Can I tell you what kind it is?
Sure.
A Jeep Wagoneer.
Okay.
Down to a service station to have the battery replaced and have the starter and the ignition switch fixed. Mm-hmm. We bought the battery at this place originally, so we thought we'd take it back to the place where we bought it.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to have the oil changed, too, and so they had it up on the rack.
Mm-hmm.
And while it was up there, something happened to the lift, and my Jeep fell off of the rack.
Did something happen to the lift?
It was not situated right or something, and it started moving. The car started rolling.
Yeah, probably nothing happened to the lift. They just probably didn't put it on squarely to begin with.
I guess that's what happened.
Yeah.
The mechanic was underneath it. Fortunately, he wasn't injured.
Boy.
But
it fell all the way off to the floor?
It fell off, and it landed on the right front bumper.
How high up in the air was it?
Well, it must have been 8 feet.
Oh,
all the way up there.
Good. Terrific.
Well, really, and we don't know what to do. The insurance company for the service station sent an adjuster out there last week.
All right.
And he said that it would cost about $3,000 to fix the car.
83, you said?
Yeah.
83 Wagoneer isn't worth $3,000, is it?
Well, this is the question. The book value on the car says $7,100.
What book are you guys looking at? I hear these prices. You guys, what are you looking at? The high, super hit the sucker book, or wholesale, or what?
The NADA official used car guide.
NADA has several of values: wholesale, retail, average. What?
This is the average retail price.
Well, retail is not. All right, go ahead. How much?
$7,100
for an '83 Wagoneer.
Yes. The same car now, I priced them today. They're over $28,000 now.
Yeah, that's new.
Well, ours was $23,000 when we bought it, so.
But that's new. This is a car that's 8 years old.
Okay. All right.
Well, maybe so. I hear these prices. I wish I was in the used car business all of a sudden.
Well, see, this is the thing. I don't know. All I know is this is the car that I drive around all the time.
How many miles on it?
About 55,000.
That's low mileage.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, but $7,000. So how much they want to fix it?
$3,000.
Well, they're going to fix it for $3,000.
Well,
you're not going to get it total if it's worth $7,000.
No, and they're not going to total it. They're just going to. They said it's going to cost $3,000 to fix it.
Well, they'll fix it then.
But there's frame damage.
They'll still fix it.
Well, I'm not sure if I want the car back.
You don't have any choice.
Well, I know.
The choice is not yours.
Well, I know, but we were thinking about taking the car and trading it in on a new one.
That you can do.
So this is where the price of the car comes in. The book says one thing.
If you trade it in, you're not going to get $7,000 for it unless it's a highball deal.
Okay.
You know what a highball deal is?
No.
Let's assume that a car is, it doesn't really matter the number. A new car is $20,000.
Okay.
Okay. You come into old Bruce H's friendly car emporium, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're driving this 83 Wagoneer, and it's got a bunched-in nose, and the whole thing is in bad shape and whatever. And it's probably worth, in its present condition, $2,000 or $3,000, all right?
Okay.
But I look at you and you say, you are a sweetheart. And it's people like you that make it. So I'm going to make you an offer you can't refuse. I'm going to make it right around the corner. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. I'm chatting with a lady. Her nickname is Lucky.
Really?
Her Jeep fell 8 feet off the lift. I guess the lucky part is she wasn't in it in any event. And it's worth a ton of money, apparently. I'm not sure that I believe that. But anyway, we were going through a highball deal. Here's the way a highball works. Okay. Let's say you have a car. True value is $2,000 trade, right? Mm-hmm. And you're going to buy a $20,000 car. Make it $1,000 true value, better yet. Okay. And we're buying a $20,000 car. And you want to put down the old car for a down payment. Fair enough?
Okay.
That's only 5%. That wouldn't do it, would it?
No.
But you come into Smiling Bruce's car emporium. Let me tell you, what's your first name?
Terry.
Terry, I'm going to take good care of you, baby, because I like the way you look. I'm not going to give you $1,000. That would be insulting. I'm going to give you $7,000 for your car. Well, your beady little eyes light up like this is money from home, right?
Right.
But the $20,000 car just became a $26,000 car.
Okay.
Because I added the $6,000 extra on the top, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I gave it to you on the bottom. But what does that accomplish? Now we got almost a 20% down payment, don't we? Mm-hmm. A little over 20, as a matter of fact. It was a $26,000 car, right?
Right.
$7,000 is in excess of 25%. Now you got a big old down payment. You walk out smiling, and the poor guy down the street who said your car's worth $1,000 is a thief, right?
Right.
Because you got $7,000 from old Brucey because he takes good care of his friends.
Well,
I'm afraid you're talking highball prices. I mean, I just can't imagine that car being worth the kind of dough you're talking about. However, there is an excellent possibility that you could get more for it percentage-wise in its present condition and keep the cash in your pocket than you could having it fixed. Why? Because the dealer can send the thing out to a shop and get the thing fixed, and then he sends it off to the auction.
Okay.
So I'd take the money, the repair money,
okay,
put it in my hot little pocket, and then trade the car in the way it is now.
Okay. That's what I needed to hear.
That's what I would do.
Okay.
But those numbers are staggering. I had to call a little earlier. I couldn't believe it. I mean, the lady had an 85 Buick, I think. I think it was 85 Buick. You know, I mean, that's not exactly a new automobile. I mean, the 91s are around the corner.
Right.
And they were talking like $7,000 for this 85 Buick. I guess I'm living in a dream world.
Well, it's confusing because, you call the bank and they tell you one thing, and then you call the dealership, and if you go to more than one dealership, you'll get several different stories.
You know what the place to look?
Well,
in the newspaper, the classifieds, and not in the dealer ads and in the ads that the average citizen's running. See what they're selling for.
Okay.
That gives you a pretty good idea of real value.
Okay.
I do wish you well, honey.
Thank you very much.
I'm Bruce Williams. Stick around for more. We'll give you, we hope, it's the very best of conversation radio. All together. What's the name? That's right. Talknet. Highland Park, Illinois. Hello there. Welcome to Talknet.
Thank you.
Hey, how you doing, baby? What's on your mind?
Well, got a neighbor who has one of those big package air conditioners very close to my bedroom.
What do you mean, big package? It goes in the window, you mean?
No, it's a central for his house.
Oh, and the compressor's outside right by your window.
It's very old, it's very inefficient, and very loud. Now, I want to stay friends with the neighbor.
Mm-hmm.
I have asked him if he needs to get the thing repaired, I'd like to replace it, and I will contribute $400 or $500 towards a quiet one.
Boy, you're a pretty generous guy.
Well, I moved in there. He had it. I guess I had to put up with this. He had it repaired the same way. I put up a big barricade.
You mean he had it repaired and it didn't cure it?
We just rebuilt it with the same components.
I would with your $500?
No, he didn't take my money. He just forgot about it and went ahead.
But what you're saying, I think, and don't let me put words in your mouth, is the thing is operating the way it was designed to operate. It's just a noisy unit.
A very, very, very noisy. It's almost like a jet plane.
But it is operating the way it was designed to operate.
Yes, it was.
Okay, go ahead. You put up a barrier, that didn't do it, huh?
I even went up to it. I had a guy come in who said he could do something with it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was willing to contribute towards a new one for him, more energy efficient, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
When the real hot season comes by and I close up my house, it's tolerable. But if I want to leave my house open with the air conditioner going off, it's almost unbearable.
Mm-hmm.
I have talked with him. I've talked with his wife, but his IQ is not very strong. I do want to stay friends. We are in the same neighborhood. It's hard to put up with it.
I don't know what to tell you. You are so much more generous than I would be. Although, on the other hand, I must tell you, I was really aggravated with one of my neighbors in a house that I own. He had the temerity to go turn my pool filter off. It was bothering him. Too bad for him.
I thought of many ways, such as nitric acid on the copper coil, a bullet well placed into the compressor.
Well, give it a natural.
I think real good about it, but when it comes to guts doing something like this, I kind of flake out. I really am at an impasse of what can be done, and I thought a reasonably good problem solver, but this is.
I'm not sure there's anything that can be done legally. I mean, he's not breaking any noise any health laws, I suspect.
Other than I'm sure if you replace the unit,
it'll be a lot quieter.
The new efficiency quiet units would be real good, but he tends to keep rebuilding the.
And what does he say when you discuss this with him?
He's kind of a space cadet.
How old a man is this?
Oh, probably 40s.
How about his wife? Is she a little higher intellect?
Yeah, but she kind of kowtows to him. I don't know how to get through to him. I really don't. And it is quite bothersome, short of taking a court and asking a judge to make a decision. I don't know what kind of a decision a judge would make.
I'm not sure the judge could make much of a decision here. And you're much of a gentleman to go over and sabotage it. I mean, you've already indicated that. I'm sure
it's good to think about it.
You dream about those things. I understand. I wish I had a better answer for you. You've been much more reasonable than most people would be.
Well, he did get a diverter on it, sort of an upturn for the exhaust aimed right at my bedroom windows.
Mm-hmm.
And there was one on there. He had it off for a while when I had it repaired. He put it back on there at my request.
Let me ask this of you. How, you guys you must be on little narrow-sized, dinky little lots here.
Unfortunately, the lots are big, but this house was built awful close to this one. And I put up a barricade.
What's on the other side of the house?
On his house?
Yeah.
Another house.
How close is that?
Probably a more tolerable distance.
Well, how close? How much more tolerable?
Probably 25, 30 feet.
Why don't you say to this guy, look, for $500, I'll bet you could have the thing moved to the other side of the house.
Here's the problem. It is one of those package air conditioners with all the ductwork going to it on the outside rather than a split unit where,
it's not just little pipes going in.
No, it's ductwork and everything.
Oh, no, that's not a decent solution. I don't know what to tell you. Back to that acid on the coil, I guess.
I was hoping that with where you've been, you'd find some magic solution.
I wish I could. There are some things that there is no reasonable solution. At the risk of repeating myself, you have been more than reasonable with this cat. Because you can buy a whole new compressor for what, $1,500, $1,800?
Well, it's not the compressor; it's the whole unit, and it's probably about $20-some-odd $100.
Oh, that much.
And I did find a man who does obtain some very good, more modern used units, which he could put one in for between $500 and $800. And I discussed it with this guy, and he's not interested. He wants brand new or nothing when he replaces it. He's not interested in having a used one put in.
I don't know.
And he doesn't even remember what I'm getting at.
How about moving?
Well, that'd be nice. Or move to another section of the house. Just abandon this section.
Good luck, kid.
Thank you.
Oh dear, you win some and you lose some, and some days it doesn't even pay to suit up. Council Bluffs, hello there. Welcome to Talknet.
Thanks. I'd like to see what I should do or what I can do. Back in January, towards the end of January, we had some carpet installed in our basement.
Mm-hmm.
When they installed it, I went down and looked at it. It was obviously two different colors because they had to piece it in two pieces.
Mm-hmm.
So I told them I was not happy with it, and they told me I had to take it up at the store. So I went in.
Oh, you told the installers that?
Right. And they said that, give it a couple weeks, vacuum it. Maybe,
it'll wear on you.
Yeah. So I said, okay, fine. So we did that for a couple weeks, and I went back and I said, there's just no way. There's two different colors. The guy said, okay, we'll come and look at it. It took them 2 weeks to do this. So in the meantime, it took them 3 months because they finally said, okay, we're going to redo it. We're going to tear it out, and we're going to redo the whole thing. Okay, that's fine. It took them 3 months to get that done. So they told me they were going to redo the whole thing because I said I wanted the stairs done, the whole work. Well, they get in here and they redo it again. They did not do my stairs. They were told not to do them.
Who told them not to do them?
Supposedly the store told the installers that they did not need to be redone again. I said, I want the whole dye lot the same. So I go back down there and I said, no. I said, I still have two different colors. You can obviously see the seam. It's real crooked. One side's higher than the other. Well, that's cheaper.
And you didn't call me when clearly you have no reason to lie about that. I assume that you did call them and no answer. I mean, and that's understandable on the weekend. They're not going to be there for, all day Sunday.
Right, but they said they were there Saturday, and they weren't. They didn't answer the phone.
Well, then that's where they and I really part company. But aside from that, the moment you adopted the dog, I think you're on the hook.
Is that right?
Yeah, and I would think so. Now, you see, it's very possible, indeed likely the dog was, when you got it. But the big question is, should a reasonable person who knows animals been expected to know that dog was ill? I don't know the answer to that. Probably you don't as well. Hopefully they'll come up with part of the money, and I think you're owed an apology about the businesses that you lied. Because clearly, if you called, they didn't answer. It's not your fault. Good luck with that puppy, kid. I'm Bruce Williams. I know how they get into your fingernails. This is Talknet. Indianapolis, Indiana. Hello there.
Hi, Bruce.
Hello, sweetheart.
I have a problem with the local bank.
Talk to me.
Okay, I visited their drive-up to make a deposit, and there were 2 checks listed on my deposit slip. This is a deposit with cash back.
I'm sorry, deposit with cash back. What do you mean?
Less cash. I deposited with checks and then got cash back. The difference of the deposit and the total of the checks.
I see. That is kind of a sloppy way to do things. It really is. Just for record keeping, you'd be better off to make a deposit and cash a check.
Okay.
that way, no, serious. That way you have a record of both transactions.
Uh-huh.
An accurate
Maybe this
record.
wouldn't have happened either. So, I got my cash back, my ID, and my deposit receipt. Then a few days later, I received a notice in the mail from the bank. The notice said there was a missing debit. I assumed that they lost one of my checks, or I didn't know. So when I spoke with the bank...
A missing debit? That'd be a missing credit. The debit would be the slip that would refer, I think, to the cash you took out.
No. In a deposit, the deposit ticket is the credit.
Yeah.
And the checks that cancel that out are the debit.
They are?
I learned that when I was a teller. Yeah, they are.
Okay.
So when I spoke with the bank personnel, they said that the teller said she'd cashed out the check and given me the money.
Oh, the entire money?
No, she cashed out one of the checks on my deposit ticket.
That's what I'm getting at. She said that, look, there were 2 checks in this thing. I gave her, let's say, pick a number. One was for $20, one was for $40. I cashed one check for $20, deposited the other check for $40.
Right.
And you're saying, no. The one check was for $20, one was for $40, but I only took $10 in cash, so it should have been $20 deposited plus 10 is $30.
Exactly.
Yeah, I can see that. That's why I immediately said, why didn't you write a check and have the check cashed, because you have no record of this transaction the way you did it.
I don't know, but I'm going to do that from now on.
Okay, so how much are we apart in this deal?
Okay, $170 is how much they debited my account for, okay?
Yeah.
And I never received this money, and so all my checks are they have bounced, and so I owe these people still, and then plus the fee that they charge for.
I'd be down raising particular hell with a bank.
I have, and they've told me from the documentation that they have, which is a teller tape that says she cashed it out, but that doesn't say that I received the money. I've never gotten that money. The teller even said, and this I don't understand, Bruce, she said that she sent the money out, less cash out in one envelope and the $170 out in another envelope.
Why would she do that?
I have no idea. See, that's what I don't understand.
Doesn't make any sense.
Right, and I was at the drive-up, and these drive-up trays, they don't retract, so the guy behind me, for all I know, if I'm short, if I were only looking for one envelope, that's all I would reach up and grab.
Let's stick around. I'm not sure how we're going to explore this, but we'll try. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. This is Bruce Williams reminding you to leave your clock radio set to WIBC and wake up with Jeff Pigeon and the morning team here on WIBC. I'm chatting with you in Indianapolis, Indiana, and I really sympathize. She deposited a couple checks, took part of the money back in cash, and now the bank says, whoopsie, we gave you an extra $170. That's bottom line, right?
Right.
They give you no redress is what they're saying, huh?
Right. And what's funny is they'd already cashed a check out. I'd sent a payment to my credit card.
Yeah.
They'd already cashed this check, and...
Well, they cleared, you mean? They cleared the check.
Right.
Yeah.
But then they reversed it.
They went down and they were looking for money. She came up short someplace.
Right. So they've bounced all my checks. I have no idea what.
I don't know what to do. Let me see if I can find it. I'll tell you. You see, as I said, I never done what you've done.
Mm-hmm.
I've always, if I were going to have it, would be a separate transaction. Matter of fact, I wouldn't even know how to do what you're talking about.
Okay.
I think what they were supposed to do technically was cash one of your checks, and then put $170 cash deposit on your deposit ticket, and give you the balance.
Right. Basically, yeah.
Not only basically. That's what because you couldn't list a check on the deposit ticket, and then show the total on the bottom. It wouldn't add.
It shows the total of the two checks, and then
how can that be?
And minus the cash you want back.
Well, I've never heard. That's a crazy way to do it. It seems.
Then
to
your
me.
net deposit.
Never done that. It would seem to me much more reasonable to walk in and just cash the check.
You're probably.
And then hand the cash back.
Mm-hmm.
As one, so you'd show a cash item and would show one check.
Right.
Or alternatively, deposit the money and then write a check to cash or to yourself and cash that check.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe there's a banker out there who can give you a solution. I don't have it.
Should I get an attorney?
Well, I want you to hold on.
Okay.
We're going to put you on hold.
Okay.
And maybe we can find somebody in the banking enterprise that would offer a suggestion. I'm not sure what it would be. I do know this, that they tend to take their employees' words well over the clients, which may or may not have some validity to it. My number is 212-245-6040, 212-245-6040. If you're in the banking business and there's some solution or no solution, I'd appreciate a call. 212-245-6040. Me, I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. Hello there, Boston. You've got something to contribute?
Yeah, Bruce. Can I ask her a question?
Well, it's kind of hard. We have this. Unfortunately, we're on the same telephone bank, but I'll try. Go ahead.
What I want to know is when she deposits. This is very common in other states, other Massachusetts. They do. You put your deposits, the total of the two checks, less cash, and then a balance that they deposit.
Right.
They take your deposit receipt and they print it as a receipt of how much they deposited.
Right.
That plus her cash back should total the two checks.
All right.
All the information should be right there. What does her deposit slip show is printed from the bank as a receipt of a deposit?
All right. Stacy, if she'll answer that question to you in the ear quickly.
Yeah. Well, that's what you need to find out. Whatever that slip shows printed from the bank as a deposit plus your cash. In other words, if they're saying, isn't that what the bank said, they're missing a debit?
Unhappily, she's dropped off.
Oh,
We've lost her for some reason.
Okay. But what she had said was that they said they didn't get a check.
No, they said they got the checks, but they returned the entire amount in cash is what they're saying.
Well, on her receipt that she has, it should show what they credited to her account as a deposit. And that plus the cash back she got. Now, if that receipt she has shows $170 less as a deposit, then
she's out of luck.
May have lost the money.
I see.
It should show what the deposit is, and that plus her cash back should total the two checks. And that's where her documentation is to substantiate her money.
So, but isn't there something with these receipts that they say it's a question of subject to audit or some such thing?
No, that's only on the automated teller machines.
No,
if you deal with a party right there, I mean, they give you a receipt. The only thing that there's in question is whether the check's good or not.
I see. Interesting.
But her cash, they don't do it in this state, and I found it odd when I moved here.
Mm-hmm.
But most of your deposits show list your checks, total the amount, and how much cash you want back, and they show you a difference. And that's what's stamped on or printed on there from the computer as your deposit.
Wouldn't it be a far better system is to cash one of the checks and then take the cash back and show it as a cash item?
Well, yeah, but you never show how much cash you get back. See, when they give you cash back, they don't give you a receipt for how much cash they give
but there wouldn't be any necessity for it the way I've described it. Let's assume it's
your point is to make it a record.
Yeah, the point is if you just
on the receipt.
Sure, just go in if you wanted to split a check as this person did.
Yeah.
Go in and cash that check completely.
Yeah.
Now you got the money in your hand.
Right, and
then make out a
cash deposit.
And make a cash deposit for whatever amount plus your checks.
Sure. Yeah, I mean
it seems more logical to me.
6 of one, half dozen of another.
Well, except that it would be a little less confusing as I see.
There's no record of how much the total of the check was, other than the fact you get a canceled check. Let's say you want to go back and say, okay, well I got checks for $1,000, I took 100 back.
Right.
Now I know what the checks were for.
Right.
As opposed to I'm putting $1,000 in. Well, how much did I get on my check?
Mm-hmm.
There's no record of that, and these other receipts keep a record of how much the total of your checks were.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do it any other way.
I hear you.
So that's why they do it.
Got you covered. Thank you so very much.
All righty, Bruce. Love listening to you, pal.
Thank you. I apologize. I don't know why we lost this lady, but perhaps she is eavesdropping on the air. Indianapolis, certainly on WIBC, she can do that. Hello there, Fairbanks. I think we had a little problem with you a little earlier dropping off.
But I'm persistent.
You're back.
And I called back, and luckily your receptionist there was very gracious and concerned about what happened, and I appreciate that. The reason that I called, Bruce, is because you just know everything. So I wanted to call to find out if you can give me some help with this situation. We're finally in a situation where one of my dreams is about to come true, and we're thinking about purchasing a motorhome.
That's a dream?
And yes, it is.
I'm only kidding. Where are you going to go in this?
So that I can get out of here on occasion.
Where are you going to go with a motorhome in Fairbanks? I mean, out of Alaska completely?
Out of around Alaska and then stateside.
Down the Alcan, huh?
Yeah.
That's a hike.
I'm not.
1,400 miles.
Yeah, I know.
That's a hike.
But anyway, my main concern is once I get it, I'll think about getting out. But my main concern is I know that, well, they're very expensive for sure. There's no getting around that. But they also sell them like they do cars, and the prices on them can drop $20,000, from one day to the next, depending upon who's trying to sell it.
Well, how much are you planning on spending?
Well, we qualified for $55,000.
Holy smokes! Are you a rock star or something?
Huh?
Are you a rock star? That's the kind of motorhome for $55,000.
Well, the thing is that we wouldn't spend that much, but we wanted to find out how much we were qualified for, so we'd know what range we could look at.
Mm-hmm.
So that doesn't mean we're going to get in debt up to our ears.
Yeah.
I'm trying not to. That's why I wanted to call you.
Mm-hmm.
I was wondering, I heard that there are places where you can buy motorhomes where they're a lot less, like where they're made. And
that's really not. And I can't speak definitively on every place, but at least one of our affiliates is in, and I don't want to get more specific because that would identify a brand. All right, is in a community where they manufacture motorhomes, and one of the guys was telling me from the station, general manager, as a matter of fact, he said it's really something to see. People come from all over the country to buy them here because they think they get them cheaper, and they're not. The only thing they save the transportation cost, but that's they got to get there and drive it home, so there's no saving there either. But he said the prices here, people think it's so much. It's really no cheaper. And we were going out to see one of the factories of this when this was going on. He was taking me out to the factory. Now I don't know if that's true in every instance, but it was true at least in this particular instance that there was no advantage. And of course, there's the other thing that there's always the pre-existing, the used motorhome.
No, that's what I was wondering also, because then they've depreciated because someone else has owned them.
Well, obviously so. It depends upon how well they've treated it and how many miles and a million other things.
Yeah. Is the thing to consider more than anything the mileage? I mean, if it's in really good shape, but it has a lot of miles on it.
What's a lot of miles?
Maybe 55,000?
That's a fair amount of miles in a big truck.
Yeah.
That would not distress me.
It wouldn't, okay.
Well, you see... It depends on who puts the miles on. For example, if you were buying a used car, right? Would you want to use cab? Would you want to use taxi cab? Would you want to use police car? Those are tough miles.
Yeah.
On the other hand, if you had somebody who really cared for the vehicle and drove it reasonably and took care of the fluids and the filters and the rest of that, well, depending on how much the saving was, 55 isn't that many miles, and obviously in a motorhome, in a sophisticated motorhome, the biggest number of dollars are not going into engines and transmissions and axles and whatever. It's going into the accoutrements up above. And you could, if you had to replace an engine, you could still wind up saving a ton of money. I'm not suggesting that you buy new or used. That's a choice you have to make. But there's something to recommend both. Well, there's something to recommend both positions.
Okay, could you give me those positions? I know you just gave me one.
Well, one is price, clearly. There's motorhomes take a tremendous smack the day you buy them.
Right, when you walk off the
When you drive it out, you've taken a heck of a hit right on the spot. No, there's nothing wrong with that, but I think it's something that you have to be aware of. Now, have you ever owned a motorhome?
No, we haven't.
Have you ever spent any time in a motorhome?
Yes, we have.
How come? Would you rent one?
Did I rent one?
How did you happen to get into one if you didn't know them? I'm just curious.
Say that again, I'm sorry.
I want to know where you got your experience in a motorhome.
We rented one.
Okay, for how long?
For 3 days.
That ain't enough.
Not enough
No, you're right. That's not enough. Mm-hmm. What you really should do, in my opinion, is rent one for a couple of weeks, 3 weeks. Mm-hmm. Spend the 3 weeks in it. You may have a different perspective when you get back. 3 days is not long enough to make a decision to spend $50,000, in my opinion.
Yeah, but renting it for 3 weeks, we might just well buy one.
That's not true. That's not true.
Mm-hmm, okay.
What's it going to cost you to rent one? Well, who said you had to rent it up there to begin with?
That's true. I know.
I'm very serious. I mean, I've rented these things. I drove, let me see, 3 trips pretty much across the country.
Uh-huh.
And I will tell you, there was never going to be a 4th one.
Is that right?
That's right. Now, I just didn't dig it. Now, we have Naomi and, what's his name, Irwin, who are driving their motorhome around the world and having a blast. Around the world. They check in with us from time to time. But I really think that you owe it to yourself to spend a little more time before you make that kind of an investment.
Yeah. Well, we've been waiting for so long.
To
get to this point.
Well, okay.
That it wouldn't hurt to wait a little longer.
I would take a trip. If you're in Fairbanks, I'd run over to a Valdez, then down to Anchorage and back. That gives you a fair excursion. Or alternatively, get in an airplane, go on down to either Seattle or over to Denver, and take a 2-week vacation and live in that sucker. Mm-hmm. You may think it's the best thing since ice cream, and that's great. On the other hand, you may say, holy smokes, what was I thinking about?
Well, I just know it's a nice alternative to tent camping.
Well, there's no question. It's a step up from tent camping, I'll give you that.
Yes.
But just before you spend that kind of dough.
Yeah.
I have a very close friend, and man, he swears by that dumb thing of his. I mean, really? I get in there, I get claustrophobic. So you got to be.
Well, see, that's the problem. Right there, you're claustrophobic.
But I mean, he swears by it. I'm sure he misses it. He's in Taiwan right now, working for a few months. But he drives this sucker from. I mean, I would no more drive from Florida to the East Coast than I would walk on hot coals voluntarily. Mm-hmm. But he thinks it's fun. Everybody has a different point of view.
Yeah, I think if you want to travel and be able to take time and kind of savor the experience, I think that's a good way to go. On the other hand, if time is a factor, then of course you probably would want to fly.
Indeed.
Which is not what we can afford up here.
Mm-hmm. Flying in Alaska is a very expensive venture.
Yeah, and over the long haul, we would probably get more enjoyment hours or vacation hours and be able to afford them over the long haul if we got something like that.
I have no problem with that. I'm just suggesting that you might want to try a little more extended rental one time before you spring. Are
there any options and things that we should look for over other things? Because this is one of the areas that we...
Well, for example, in Alaska, particularly where you are, where, a nice warm winter day is about 10 below.
Right.
Yeah, well, there are certain sanitary facilities which become, in most motorhomes, inoperable. Unless you're able to get one with a heater in the waste tank and so on and so forth. Well, these are things I'd want to consider. Whether or not you want to use a gas refrigerator, a gas electric, or indeed just some kind of an ice box. How many people you want to sleep? How much storage? Do you want a diesel or do you want a gasoline engine? These are all things to be considered.
And what would you say about a gasoline versus diesel?
I don't care for diesel personally. Just a personal prejudice. I don't like diesel. I don't care. I'm talking about the noise and the racket and the rest of it, and particularly in a very cold climate such as you're in. Diesel would have no interest, but I just don't care for diesel. I mean, it amazes me. Here's a guy driving down the street with a $50,000 car. It sounds like my garbage truck. It's not it. That doesn't do it for me. I got to turn you loose, sweetheart.
Okay. Well, thank you for your information.
It has been a joy.
As I said, thank you to the lady who helped me out.
I will dim the lights when I see you popping down in your motorhome. I'm Bruce Williams. Stick around. This is Talknet. We go now to Grand Rapids, Michigan. It's your turn. Hi.
Hi. Thank you very much for taking my call. I guess I always was a nobody, but now I have a purpose.
There you go.
I'm going to send you a card.
You are a sweetheart. What's on your mind?
Other than maybe not being professionally ethical, I'd like your opinion on copying somebody's business idea almost down to copying the verbiage and the meaning.
You're real. When you steal, you go first class, right?
Well, and implement it in different state, different city.
That's fun. What kind of business are we talking about?
It's related to purely service of doing things for people that generally they don't want to do themselves.
You mean like a kind of a let Sally do it type of proposition?
No, I think it's more geared to the working male and female, and it would be taking care of payment of bills and repetitive transactions.
Well, we're back to the same thing. It's kind of a let Sally do it.
Okay.
There are a lot of businesses like that. They say, look, there's a lot of details in your life, whether it's paying the bills, picking up the mail. You don't want to do it, we'll do it for you. Whatever it is, we'll be your gopher.
Right.
You know, you could steal that. Why not? Because it's being done everywhere.
What about copying his mailers and his circulars?
No. You got to be careful with that. You got to be careful with that because those are likely. Well, they are. They're copyrighted even if he doesn't copyright them. You can't do that. But you can use them for a guide and put it in your own language.
Okay.
But
so
no, you
even
can't.
If he doesn't have any registration.
Doesn't matter. He owns the literary rights to his creations.
Okay.
Now, what do you want to steal for?
Because it's a neat little package.
Well, fine. You can. But you're a bright lady. You come up with a neat little package.
Well, yeah, I guess you're right. It's
and I don't mean that you can't.
Easier just to pick it up and do it all over again.
Well, sure. I mean,
reinvent the wheel.
Well, I didn't ask you to reinvent the wheel, but at least I want you to rewrite it.
That I'll do.
Okay. If he has a logo, for pity's sake, don't put your logo in the same place on the paper.
Nope,
I mean, just put it in the other corner. Do something a little different.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
I hope your business goes well.
Well, it's an idea.
Hello, Bruce.
How are we doing, Tiger?
Been listening to you for just about 3 years to the day. My car had gone in the shop, and the loaner just had an AM radio, and that's how I started listening to you.
So we got to get more. We got to go out. What we have to do is go out and sabotage a few radios. That maybe will help us out. What's on your mind?
Real interesting situation. I put a charge on my credit card into contest. It's been about 6 months. It was a hotel charge. I disputed a portion of it, not the whole thing, just a portion of it. The bank from the get-go has been real hesitant about doing anything. I basically had to write them several letters citing federal law just to get them to move on.
Well, what was the nature of the charge?
I made a reservation at a hotel. They quoted me a discount rate.
All right.
When I go to check out, something's wrong. It's not on the computer. They check me out the full rate. And the net difference over the weekend stay was $201.30.
You got to be kidding.
No. So eventually, after haggling with the bank and writing them a few letters, they put a charge back through. The hotel promptly rebills the charge, and my bank tells me that they're sorry, but there's nothing they can do. We expect you to pay the bill, and if you'd like, you can sue the merchant directly in the court. Of course, it's an out-of-state hotel.
Well, wait a minute. Let's go back a little bit. And I know you registered in the hotel, and you gave them the right to sign your credit card, right?
Well, when I checked in, they made me sign it when I checked in.
You didn't sign it in advance, did you?
Yes.
Well, sometimes automobile companies make you do that. I've never had that happen in a hotel. But when you sign the register, it gives them the right to sign it. Signature on file. Same thing.
Well, I remember when they took an imprint on my card.
Yeah.
They had me sign the imprint right when I checked in.
That's a little unusual.
But at any rate,
what do you have to support what you just told me?
I'm afraid very little, because the hotel, I didn't write anything down with the hotel. It was just over the phone.
You mean they quoted you a rate on the telephone?
Mm-hmm.
What was the rate?
It was $54 a night, or $55 a night, I believe, and the full rate was $155 a night.
How come they were given to you for $100 off?
Well, it was a discount rate that I had arranged from someone within the hotel.
Well, how about that someone? Are they supporting your position or not?
At this point, no.
Why?
The issue of the chargeback itself isn't. That's not really what I'm calling you. After I got the letter from the bank saying there was nothing they could do, we suggest you sue them. I wrote to the president of the bank and got no response. Then I wrote to the Federal Reserve, and this was back in July. And apparently they must have said something to them, because last week I get a call from my bank, which, by the way, because of the way they've handled this and some other matters, I've canceled my card with them, so I'm no longer a customer of theirs. I've just got this one outstanding bill to settle with them.
Mm-hmm.
They said that they have gone over and over with the hotel, and the hotel absolutely refuses to budge. They were asking if I would be willing to pay half the bill, or $100 and some odd cents, to settle the matter?
I'd probably settle. I'll tell you why. Because of what you told me how you responded to my question. So what do you got? You said nothing. In addition, you had a hotel employee who now... What was your relationship with that employee?
It was a Las Vegas resort hotel.
Without regard to that, what was your relationship with this employee who now will not substantiate what he or she said?
I have none.
Well, how do you explain that?
Well, it was just a number that I called.
Well, then, but you said you had some employee.
Right, it was an employee. It was a Las Vegas casino hotel.
I understand that, but what does that mean? That doesn't change.
I called a poker department. There was
Oh, you're talking about the casino then gave you a special rate. And now the casino says no.
Right.
Did you play?
Yes.
Enough?
When I made the reservation, I asked her what I had to do to get that rate. She said, all you have to do is play in the poker room.
How much?
She did. She made no...
Now, you see, if you left out a very, very salient part of this whole thing. You went on a casino rate. But a casino rate only obtains if you play and you are rated. You understand or not?
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yes.
You were rated unsatisfactory, so the casino refused to pick it up. That's what happened.
Well, when I made the reservation, I asked
you're not listening to me.
How long do I have to play?
You're supposed to know those things. And what'd they say?
She said, all you have to do is play. It doesn't matter what kind of limit or how long.
That's not, nobody ever, I don't want to argue too vociferously, but that's not what they tell you. I've been to enough casinos. They'll tell you got to be rated, you got to be an A, B, C player or whatever. They generally require anywhere from 2 to 4 hours a day. That's a 21. Maybe more at poker because it's a much slower win for them. Otherwise, they are not going to they're not going to comp you. That's what it came down to, a partial comp. This is a partial comp. And you were rated unsatisfactorily. To get a room today, now they want a $50 player 4 hours a night or 3 hours a night, he says now.
Well, if I'd known all of this, believe me, I wouldn't have even gone.
I understand what you're saying. Well, but I see what's happened. I think I do anyway. That you were looking for a casino comp and they rated you as unsatisfactory. Now, just best of your knowledge, what kind of a table you're playing at?
I played 15 and 30.
That's a pretty heavy table. And how many hours a day?
Over the whole weekend, I put in about 5 hours. I put in 2 hours.
How many days?
It was a weekend, a Saturday and a Sunday. I put in 2 hours on Saturday and about 3 hours on Sunday.
Well, that's barely the minimum. That's what's happened to you, son. You were just, for whatever reason, did the casino, did the floor man know that you were playing and looking to be rated?
Yes, I did. Yes, they did. I went and...
Well, they rated you unsatisfactory. They said you didn't give them enough action. That's the reason.
They said that to begin with.
I understand all that, but you're just asking me what happened to you. I'm telling you. I can't, whether you were a good player, good meaning enough, I have no way of knowing that, but that's what's happened. I don't think they are gonna help you very much in this regard. When you ask for a casino rate predicated on your play, you're at their mercy. If they don't like the way you played, you got to pay the bill. I do wish you well, kid. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. We go to Concord, California. Thanks for your patience. What's on your mind?
Hi, Jim. I'm calling...
Jim. Who's Jim?
Oh, I'm sorry, Bruce.
Henry, yeah. You're Jim.
Yes.
Okay.
No, I'm not. I have someone.
Never
mind.
Yes.
What I'm calling for, I placed a car in to get fixed. It's vapor locking was the problem. I get a call back from these people, and they tell me, it needs a new head and valve guides, and anyhow, it's $700 instead of just a head gasket, which was going to be $300. So anyhow, I said, okay, if you can fix it, do so. I had previously taken it to another shop who told me it wasn't a head gasket. So anyhow.
Oh, hold it. Run that by me again.
What I'm trying...
Wait, hold on now. You said you took it to call it the first shop A, and they said that it isn't just a head gasket, it's a whole bunch of other stuff. But you said previously you taken it someplace else, and they said what?
Yeah.
No, they said what? I want to hear it again.
Oh, they said that there is no head gasket problem. One of them was...
Well, then why did you say go ahead and fix it? I don't understand.
Well, I started fixing this thing myself, and I've replaced everything under the sun that I could replace, short of doing, head work on it. So when the radiator shop told me there was no problem with the head, then I took it into this other place, shop B, let's say, and I said, what's the problem with it? And they told me, I was expecting they were going to tell me something else. They tell me it is the head, and they had a more sophisticated machine, so I assumed that maybe they knew what they were talking about. Okay, and for all I know, they might. Okay, I haven't picked it up yet. This is a problem that's been going on and on with this car, trying to get it fixed. And, I've poured hundreds in the thing, and I want to make sure they fix the right thing. Mm-hmm. And my question pertains to, if I wrote a check for it and it turns out that they did not fix it, I could stop the check.
You can, but you're walking on very treacherous ground if you do that.
Okay.
You just can't use stopping it. Well, it depends on who you're dealing with, frankly. Mm-hmm. But you just can't arbitrarily stop payments on checks and then expect to be totally unscathed. Mm-hmm. You open yourself up to some possibility of damage.
Mm-hmm. Is it any safer using a credit card than doing that?
Well, how long do you think? What are you're trying to protect yourself against? What?
Against them charging me. I don't mind paying the $700 if they fix the problem.
Well, how long do you want to know before the problem is fixed?
Oh, I'll know right off because I'm going to take it out and drive it.
Well, then take it for a drive before you pay for it.
I guess I could do that.
Well, I guess you did not seem reasonable.
If they'd let you.
Well, if they won't let you, then we have a serious problem, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, see, what it is the thing vapor locks after you drive it about an hour.
Well, then drive it for an hour.
Yeah.
See, I want to take this. Look, I've had a real serious problem, and I want to pay you guys. But I ain't going to pay it till we take it for a ride for 2 hours.
Uh-huh.
And if it doesn't vapor lock in 2 hours, I'm going to come back, and I'm going to kiss you right in the mouth. I'll leave my wife here as hostage if you like. But I'm not going to pay until I try, because I've had a problem before, and I've paid, and it hasn't been corrected. A reasonable repairman would let's take it for a ride.
Oh, yeah?
And I suspect if you let it idle for the hour, it'd probably have the same problem, wouldn't it?
Maybe. I don't know. Typically, vapor lock's going uphill when it gets hot.
Well, get it hot and take it up a hill and see what happens. I wish you well, my friend.
All righty. Thank you.
Well, you just don't indiscriminately stop payments on checks. That can get you in serious trouble. I'm Bruce Williams. Stick around for more. We give you help as the very best of conversation radio. We call it Talknet. Lakewood, Colorado, it's your turn. Welcome to my world.
Howdy, Bruce. Long-time listener, first-time caller.
Yes, sir.
I'm one of those people who does a whole bunch of different things for a living.
Like me.
Yeah, one of the jobs I do is I run a small telemarketing operation in the evenings.
What do you peddle?
Well, just about anything that's legitimate. I have heard, I'm familiar with some of the scams that I've heard you talk to people about, the vacation certs and some of those credit card deals. Mm-hmm. And I run ads in the business section of paper occasionally, and I get some interesting calls of people who have various propositions. And a fellow called me about a deal on 900 lines, wants me to help him sell them. And it's
sell the lines or sell a service, which?
It's selling an extension program connected with 900 lines, where he's selling them an extension service.
I'm not sure what that means.
Well, he gives them a couple-digit code in extra to the 900 number, which is their 900 extension, and they run their ad, and people pay, the money to call up on the ad. The money that he's talking about...
Oh, wait, let's hold on.
Sure.
I'm going to get I don't understand it. I haven't got a clue what you're talking about.
Okay, I'm sorry. It's a 900 extension service.
But you're saying the same thing you said to me before. I don't know what that means.
Okay, it's a 900 line.
I know what that means.
Okay, he's got extension numbers on this.
What you're telling me, I think, is he's going to give me the access to a 900 number. Is that it?
Yeah.
For what purpose?
For whatever purpose that you want to do. If you want to run an ad for such and such information and charge people $5 or $10.
So why have I got to go to him? I can get a 900 number from the various phone companies, long distance carriers, and so forth. What do I need him for?
Well, the deal is supposedly with this extension plan, the rates are quite a bit cheaper, as in about $100, $150 a month, as opposed to
Well, whatever. Go ahead.
Okay, what I'm curious about is the money he's talking about paying on this is is so lucrative. I'm wondering if there's any sort of scam, involved with 900 service.
Of course, there's a scam in every church in the world. Please, I'm trying. How in the world can I answer? Can anybody answer that kind of question?
Okay, well, I heard you talk about...
You said to me, for example, I don't mean to appear testy, but really, you said to me, on the one hand, this guy has this extension thing, which doesn't tell me a hell of a great deal, but you can make a ton of money. Now, is there a scam? How, given that information, that little scanty bit of flavoring here, how in the world can anybody make comment?
Okay.
I don't know what the guy's peddling. Let's start with a premise, okay? There are legitimate 900 number services, all right? We'll go around the corner and explore them. I'm Bruce Williams for Talknet. This is Bruce Williams reminding you to stay tuned to WIBC for the Neil Meyer Show tonight at 10, only on 1070 WIBC. I'm talking to one of my nobodies. You're a Lakewood, Colorado nobody, right?
Right.
We're talking about 900 numbers, and some guy has given them a pitch about selling 900 numbers, and you said a legitimate 900 numbers. The answer is sure there are. There are 900 numbers to give sports information, keep you up to date on, whatever's going, for whatever reason you want that. And I don't know why you want to know, but that's another matter. There are others that will give you information on how to, the best, you can give them, for example, you say, I want to buy a Ford Escort, for the sake of discussion. And they'll tell you what the dealer cost is with all the options that you mentioned. Legitimate, all right? Then we get involved in some of the other stuff, which is a little bit spongy. Things like call up and improve your sex life. You can meet nice people. I was watching that stuff on late night TV. It was the last night before, and it's always a good-looking woman. Why would somebody looking that good need to call up a telephone and talk to unknown people, which is another program, at $2 a minute? I mean, my blood would turn right to 10-weight motor oil before I'd spend $2 a minute to talk to somebody that didn't know on a telephone. And then there's there's also another service which I think is certainly legit. I know every guest list is an exclusion list, so this is not meant to be the all-inclusive list. But there's one group that they constantly review the highest CD rates in insured banks around the country, and you can call that number and find out what the best rate is that day. Right, that's a good service. But on the other hand, there are some other very hairy 900 number services. There's one that gives you the illusion that you're going to get a gold credit card. And most of us think of, Visa, MasterCard, American Express, that kind of stuff, right?
I'm familiar with that.
What you're really getting is some piece of garbage that allows you to buy merchandise at inflated prices, put the cost of the merchandise down, and finance the profit. Well, that's if that hasn't got swindle written all over it, it's the next thing to it. Now, that's a bad deal.
Yeah, my situation is I don't want to be involved with anything that is shady or a scam. I've never heard of this extension program, and I called a couple of the carriers, and they've never heard of this type of program.
You keep using that term. That's their term.
Yeah.
A term that they've invented.
Okay. I wish I could define it better for you. I think in essence what they are offering is one 900 line with various units, a code that you can get involved.
Indeed, that you can get keyed into.
Yeah.
And the kind of people that are going to buy that from you, by and large, are not the people that you want to be involved with.
Okay.
As I see it.
That is very important.
There's too many ways to make a living without getting involved in something that you're not completely... Well, first of all, you're not in control. You aren't in control. I wouldn't have no interest in me, whatever.
I have to use my own company name with this, too, and that's why I don't want to get involved with something that could be shady. I'd never heard of this, and that's why I thought you might... You're wise to so many things that are going on.
Well, I'm not. You're very kind, and I don't know precisely what these guys are doing. But as I said, if I wanted to use a 900 number, nothing dishonorable about that. But if it did, I would go directly to the carrier. I'm Bruce Williams. Stick around for more. This is Talknet. Yesterday, I asked a lady to give us a call back. Scenario as follows: a lady was in Grand Rapids. She was financing a car. And at the end of the car loan, they said that she owed a lot of money. Why? Well, because you didn't carry the collision and comprehensive that you were required to, so we bought it for you. And when the banks buy that, it's very expensive. She said, what are you talking about? I can document that the insurance was in place all the way. Well, whoever she was dealing with, the lender, was a bit unhappy and unwilling to deal. I said, go down and talk to somebody with at least a vice president after their name. She did, and what happened, kid? Nobody's told me yet. Dottie? Are you there? Oh, line A. Excuse me. Why does it say 10 up there? This computer has got to be reprogrammed. Dottie, are you there?
I sure am.
All right, sweetheart.
Hi there.
Hi. What happened?
Well, I did ask for a higher up, as you said.
What did you ask for by title?
Well, yes, I asked for the vice president.
And they said?
And after a lot of hemming and hawing, and of course I had to be mean, they finally put me through.
Mm-hmm. Wait, on the telephone or in person?
I had to do it by telephone because this bank is in Detroit. And although they have local branches, they've told me that I can't deal with anyone here. It comes out of Detroit.
I see. Okay.
So I went through the whole scenario with them and said, as you told me to tell them that I was, ready after 8 months of trying to get this resolved, file a complaint with Federal Reserve Board. And they quickly made all of these checks and told me that they assured me that the insurance through them has been dropped off of my loan and that everything is now up to date and my account is fine.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they also told me that to go ahead and continue my payments with the new payment book they've sent me, which is $30 more than what my payment should be each month. And I told them that I will do that, except I'm sure that their computers and girls will start calling me again, thinking I haven't paid the amount that I should, because this has happened before in this 8-month course.
Mm-hmm.
And but they said, no, don't worry, that won't happen, just do it.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if I should maybe ask them to write me.
Absolutely. Say, listen, I'm glad we got this settled, but would you please confirm it in writing?
Yes. Because
but
soon
the Federal Reserve was the magic number, wasn't it?
Yes.
That's your life.
But because soon this loan will be paid off, and I don't suddenly want them saying, well, now you owe this and this and this.
Exactly. Whoever you talk to, you can call tomorrow. And if you can't get to that person, just talk to the secretary involved and say, I really appreciated talking to Mr. or whoever he was, she was, and I'd like the conversation confirmed in writing, and then I'll continue to make the payments, and thank you very much.
Okay. Sounds
amazing when you rattle the right sword, what happens, isn't it?
Yes. Yes, boy, after 8 months, it's been quite disturbing.
Well, I hope it works out well. It would appear we're on the right track. What do you think, kid?
I think so, too.
I do wish you well. Thanks for getting back to me, Dottie.
Thank you.
Yeah, you got but you have two things working against you. First is you're dealing with low-level folks who really have no incentive to do anything other than read the manual and say this is the way it's going to be, given the fact that there's nothing in it for them if they solve the problem, and they can get some grief if they don't. And frequently they don't have the intellectual ability to figure the thing out, which is a whole other problem. And secondly, it's so difficult frequently to reach decision-making folks. But when you're dealing with any organization that is regulated, and particularly an organization that presently is coming under some criticism, and this could be utility companies, certainly banks, savings and whatever, they are sensitive to people who know their rights and say, well, we'll talk to the regulators. Generally speaking, you have reached their hot button. Houston, your turn. Welcome to my world.
Amanda?
Hello there. Is this Houston?
All right. Now, number one, I'm glad you're back on the air. I used to listen to you before, and then you were off. And now you're back on again.
You're talking about in Houston?
KPRC,
yes,
right.
Well, we were on another station in Houston all this time.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes.
Don't tell me that.
It's true.
Oh, good Lord. I didn't know that. Well, now, number two, I want to send a nobody because I want to keep you back on the air.
Well, aren't you sweet?
All right. Now, South Dakota, what's the zip code?
57220. Just
57220.
Right, it's Bruce Williams, Bruce, South Dakota. I selected the community, obviously, because it's easy to remember.
All right. Now, the reason why I called, and I have listened to you so long and so religiously, this is a legal question that and I respect you for this. If you can't answer it,
I shall tell you, but you know I'm not an attorney.
All right. Now, the problem is my next-door neighbor has this marvelous, beautiful old oak tree.
Oh, it sounds like a title of a song.
I don't, it must be at least 50 or 60 years old.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And I'm not one to destroy a tree. I already called somebody in. The problem is it got under my driveway.
The roots.
Pardon?
The roots.
The roots, right.
Yeah, okay.
To the point where I can't even drive my car under the carport.
Why?
Well, because the cement has risen so high.
Huh.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, cheating.
Now, I called in somebody, and they said in order to take care of it properly, they would have to, this is totally out of my category, but I'm going to relate what he told me in layman's terms. He said I'd have to put some kind of a plaque, metal plaque there, but he couldn't guarantee that the tree would not be damaged and possibly die.
No, wait, what is he going to put down? A metal what?
Like a metal band. In other words, he cut out the roots that are under the driveway.
Right.
In order that I can replace the driveway.
Yeah, I understand that.
All right. But see, my problem, Bruce, is, you know, and since my husband passed away, I have had to learn to, and I won't use the term fight my battles because, you know, I kind of look at life this way. When you come into the world, you have nothing. And when you leave,
you're damn well leaving
exactly the same.
You're leaving with just exactly the same. Look, here's the thing. Let's cut through this, okay?
But I want to know who is legally responsible. I'm not going to fight the battle.
Well, here's the thing. The roots are there in your ground, and you have a right to remove them. Period.
Yeah.
You also have a responsibility not to damage the tree. Now, those are two conflicting situations on occasion. But if you're talking about a tree as old as you've described, probably 18 inches in diameter, something of that nature.
Right.
That cutting a few roots out are not going to hurt that tree as long as you have them sealed. Now, what you can do is dig up a trench outside the driveway, cut the roots off there, and if you want, put up some kind of a barrier under the ground. The roots are not going to go they're not going to penetrate that barrier.
I know the roots will not get under the foundation of my house.
Indeed.
Because I'm on a slab. Well, I know that much.
What I'm trying to get to is if you put some kind of a barrier in the ground, those roots are not going to go around that barrier in very quick order.
Yeah.
And then just go pour your driveway again. Well,
I don't want to destroy the tree.
I understand that, but if you cut,
what I'm fighting?
Honey, if you cut the roots and then they're sealed, it's not going to destroy the tree. Not a tree that size, the relatively few roots you're talking about. Well, that's the end of it.
Okay. But my question is, and it's kind of a foolish question because I'm not a fighter. Who is legally responsible? I am.
You are.
All right.
It's the roots are on your property. They're yours.
Right.
You can't sue the guy for... All righty, we'll get things underway in Nashua, New Hampshire. Hello there, welcome to Talknet.
Good evening, how are you?
I am real well, thanks.
I listen to your show, you hear this all the time. It's very enjoyable, and I'm glad I had a chance to reach you.
Well, thank you, sir. What's on your mind?
Well, I suppose you might need, maybe a proverbial shoulder to cry on, and also some advice. I used to teach up until December. I used to teach for a company, I won't mention the name. It was required my teaching learning skills to students, SAT skills, reading skills.
All right.
And to make a long story short, I got fired from the position.
Why?
Well,
Abstentiously, and what was the real reason, huh?
The real reason, I'll be honest with you, and I'm ashamed of myself, I kept poor records. Each student had to have first of all, we give a pre-test and a post-test. Each student had to have his and hers scores recorded on the pre-test and the post-test. There were 3 forms necessary for each student. Somehow, the maze of paperwork, which I'm terrible at, I misplaced one of the forms. At least I forgot to fill it out, and consequently it threw the whole balance of the marks off.
All right.
Now, I had an idea something was amiss. I had 4 cycles to teach him. I've been traveling anywhere from South Carolina up to Connecticut. And after the first two cycles were complete, now that I look back in retrospect, I realized I had sealed my fate. If that's the right expression. At the same time, I kicked myself in the rear. I said to myself, quite honestly, look, you better get going. You better start straightening out your act, because they're going to let you go if you don't.
Mm-hmm.
Well, sure enough, December the 11th, Merry Christmas, the owner of the company phoned me, and he told me he was letting me go.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually pleaded with him on the phone. So I asked him if he'd take some time just to possibly review some of the techniques. He wouldn't hear of it. I even wrote him a letter. I really felt it was a very traumatic experience for me. Some people don't give a damn if they lose a job, but I love the job. I'm sure you know what it's like out there trying to find a job you really like.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm determined to try to find some of the competitors for this company. And
well, it shouldn't be too hard to do, should it?
No, frankly, I've already called. This was when I was in the Massachusetts area. I called the Better Business Bureau, the Attorney General's office, to try to get some names of some companies, relevant companies, or companies, similar to this. I couldn't get any names. When I do.
Well, when you see the attorney, why would you call there?
I don't know to whom I should turn to get names for their competitors.
Well, now, wait a while. These are prep companies, right?
Yes.
Are they licensed?
Yes.
Well, then call the State Department of Education. Start with them.
Okay. Fine.
Look in the yellow pages.
All right.
I mean, let's face it. They got to find customers. Where do they find their customers? They also probably get referred by guidance counselors, would they not?
Yes.
Well, then go talk to some guidance counselors.
Essentially, my work dealt with going to private schools. They were all private schools throughout the United States.
My point is that talk to the people who are referring them business.
I understand. Finally, when I do go up for interviews, if I'm called for interviews, or when I remake my resume, I want to know, in spite of the circumstances, is it prudent to list this company?
How long did you work there?
From August, we started training until December.
Nah, I'd skip that.
You would?
Yeah, for 4 months.
Because it might, as I say, I look at it one of two ways. It might be to my advantage to let them know I had some experience.
Yeah, but given your employment record, I don't think there's any advantage there.
Yeah.
I'd leave that a blank spot.
You would?
You?
Okay, as I say, it sounds kind of strange. I really liked the job. It was a very unusual situation. I enjoyed what I did. And another thing, too, the owner had, he accused me of forcing the company to lose a client school.
Mm-hmm.
It was the first school of the 4 in which I had taught.
Mm-hmm.
I immediately called the headmaster of this particular school in New York. I won't mention the name of it.
Mm-hmm.
That was all apologies. He said, wait a minute. He said, hold on. Then he asked me, what are you talking about? I said, well, I was just informed by my lawyer that I caused his company to lose your services for next year. He said, you're crazy. Because our assessment of you was excellent.
Okay, well, look, without regard to that, your history. I'd forget about it. Just go on and find the new guys and apply for new jobs.
And keep this particular experience
I
close.
think I would make this history as well.
Oh, that's really been on my mind. I'm glad I could reach you, and I appreciate your time and advice, sir.
I wish you well, my friend.
Thank you.
And learn from mistakes. We all make them. Hopefully we learn from them from time to time. San Jose, hello.
Hello, Bruce.
Hi.
Hey, I wonder if you could throw some stones of my financial plan.
All right. One stone.
I'm in my early 50s, divorced, have all my kids through college, and I own 6 condos.
Mm-hmm. These are investment condos, I take it?
5 of them are. I live in one.
All right.
And I have about $20,000 of money to work with. I have no other money or investments around, just the condos.
Income?
Yes, sir.
Do you have other income?
Plus my salary.
Well, but that you can't throw that away. How much is your salary?
Oh, $55,000 a year.
The reason I asked, the tax laws have been changed. You must know.
Okay, with the tax laws, I have the full $25,000 deductible, and I should have that for the next 4 or 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
My plan right now is to accelerate my payments and have all of them paid off in about 8 years.
What are the interest rates involved?
2 of them 8%. 1 8.5, and I have 2 at accelerate or at not fixed.
Variable, but
variable,
at what
right.
rate?
Oh, they go from 9 max up out at 13.5.
Well, what are they now?
Right now, one is at 10.5, and one is at I believe it's 9 or 9.25, somewhere in that range.
You want to pay them all off? Is that it?
Yes, sir, I do.
Well, I don't think that's too smart. Now, you could make a case for paying the 10.5 off. because that's probably more than you could prudently earn, even taking taxes into account. But I would be paying up the 8% loans, not in today's marketplace. Where are you going to borrow money at 8% today?
Point is, with the condos paid off, I can retire.
Wait a while. Sonny, don't even start on that, because it's specious thinking. It's specious because what you're doing is you're saying, well, if I paid it off, I wouldn't have the notes, right?
Exactly.
But if I didn't pay it off, I'd take the money out to Las Vegas and throw it in the pass line.
Which is true also.
Oh, you would?
I live there. I have a condo in Vegas, and that will be my final home.
The point is, do you have the discipline to invest the money elsewhere, or do you not?
No, I don't.
In that case, stop right there. I agree. Pay it off.
Yeah, that's
okay. But you see, the only reason I'm saying that is not because it's necessarily a good idea for the average person. But if you're the guy who can't hang on to a loose buck and you throw it away, yes, by all means, then pay it off.
So I can hang on, but I can also live very comfortably with 3/4 of 5 rentals.
That isn't what I'm getting at all. You would have more money at the end of the year if you're a good money manager and didn't pay these things off, invested the money elsewhere.
Where else would I pay?
That's, oh, my Lord, 100 other places. But you're telling me you don't have the discipline to do that.
Yeah.
Well, then why we want to discuss that?
I don't know. That's why I called you.
Pay it off.
Thank you, sir.
If you don't have a discipline, by all... And let me tell you something. It takes a mature individual to realize his weaknesses. I have no quarrel with you. I wish you well. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. And the Talknet.
Thanks for taking my call, Bruce. I have a neighbor. The fence that he has erected several years ago is over the line. Definitely over the line because there's iron stakes and you can string it and find that out for a fact.
All right, now let's hold on now with facts, though, okay? Let's be certain. I'm not questioning your veracity. Let's start with that, okay?
Okay.
But sometimes we start out with a position which we find out is not as solid as we might have thought it to be. Well, let's hope the iron stakes are where they're supposed to be.
Okay.
Because if somebody moved one for whatever reason...
To my knowledge, they've never been moved, and the iron stakes were put in since we've been here.
By a surveyor?
Yes.
Okay. You understand where I'm coming from?
Right. Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
But now the neighbor has put his house up for sale.
All right. How far is the fence intruding on your property?
A few inches.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, now I want to know where I stand, because if it's sold on a mortgage, which most houses are.
There'll be a survey.
Correct.
And the survey will show that the fence is on your property. It's your fence.
Okay.
The fence is your fence right now. That's what it comes down to.
I've heard you on fences that if you didn't want it there, you'd be out there at a heartbeat if it was yours.
If somebody gave me a bad time, yeah.
Yeah, this goes back quite a ways. He had a wood fence at one time, and he wasn't keeping my side of it up. The paint was blistering, nails popping out, and he wouldn't take care of it, so I called the city zoning inspector, and he condemned it.
It's a nice guy, so I could say. And the vendetta in Dayton here, yeah.
And he had a pool, so he had that was probably the other reason it was condemned. He had to put up a chain link.
Yeah, to meet the pool ordinance.
Yeah, and it was still over the line after he did the chain link.
All right.
Where do you think I'm going to have a title insurance company or somebody knocking on my door?
No, because the title insurance company will assume it's your fence. How would they know? The guy comes out. Well, let's set the scenario here, okay? The guy comes out to survey, and he shoots the line, and he's going to show the survey, and he's going to show the fence, and the fence in relation to the line.
Well, yeah, but it turns 90 degrees. This is the length.
It doesn't matter.
It turns 90 degrees, and it's all attached. It's obvious.
No, it's not obvious at all. It really isn't. You think that you'd be cutting a new furrow if you forget about this neighbor, right? That you bought one leg, the guy on the other side bought the other leg, and the guy in the back bought the back or something?
Well, no, because it's real obvious because my fence is in 3 inches all the way around, and mine's not attached to his.
Oh, you have 2 fences there?
Well, no, there's not a length running on his side, because the only reason I didn't do it is because I didn't want a 3-inch patch of grass between the
I understand that, but the point is, you're assuming that the surveyor is going to know it's his fence, not yours. That's not necessarily a good assumption. He may.
Okay, let's go on that assumption.
So what you're telling me, but tell the surveyor.
Okay.
Let him know.
Do you think I'm going to have somebody knocking on my door wanting a release of some kind?
They might. They might. And I wouldn't be reluctant to give it to him.
Okay.
How wide is your property?
How long?
How wide? It's only the width is what we're...
Oh, okay. 65 feet, I believe.
All right. I mean, it's not hurting you any. If you get something in writing saying for $1, another important consideration, you're leasing him 2 inches by whatever the depth is, it's not hurting you very much. Matter of fact, you have the benefit of the fence.
Right.
But the alternative is, if it's on your property, I think you have the right to remove it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why you want to do that.
No, but I don't want to, give it up under an adverse possession either.
Well, what are you going to give up, an inch?
Yeah. Well, and cloud, title to my property.
Well, that could be a problem. As I say, I would have no objection or reservation or whatever to taking it down if you feel as strongly as you do. Or you can go to the guy and say, look, I'm going to give you a choice. If you want to enter into a contract with me, acknowledging that the fence is encroaching and you're paying me $1 a year rent, I have no quarrel. And we can leave the fence there, and we're going to record that document. It'll be a matter of record with your property and so forth. And everybody's on notice. No big deal. You let your attorney prepare the document or pay for it.
Okay.
And if you don't want to do that, well, then I got a feeling I got to be out there with my fence puller.
Okay. Okay, doke.
That's how. I'm not telling you how to handle it, but that's how I would handle it.
Okay.
I do wish you well, my friend.
Thank you.
This whole business of inches, though, it really gets to be a problem. Lafayette, Indiana. Hello there.
Hello there. I'm a budding numismatist, coin collector type thing.
A numismatist. What is a $3 word? At least $2.50. Go ahead.
Okay. What I'm looking at is I'm just starting to get into the business, or not business, the part of collecting and getting it together in the feel of it. And I have, I'm pretty limited as far as what I can do and say, but I was thinking I can get a lot of, say, set rolls of whatever denomination of coins may be uncirculated.
You mean new coins, you mean?
Well, not new coins, but at least graded to be uncirculated.
What? Yeah, but from when?
A set year that is let's say all memorial pennies, and that's 59 to present. Okay, and then go out and put a little ad in Coin Magazine, and say, we can send you one of each of the whole thing.
Yeah, I suppose. I think that you gotta have some other reason to reach these people. Mm-hmm. What I'm getting at, you must read the magazines that are and the ads that are aimed at coin collectors.
Yes, I do.
All right. Now, some of those ads ostensibly are selling something, but that's really not what they're doing. So let's sneak around the corner with that thought, okay? I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. I'm talking to a young fellow who is he's a budding coin salesman by mail, right?
Yeah, that's me.
Okay, and you've seen all the ads about you can pick up 4 wheat cents and a buffalo nickel and so on and so forth by sending $1 or $2 to a given address, right?
Right.
Now, why do you think they're trying to sell the pennies and a nickel?
Pardon me again now?
Do you think they're really trying to sell those pennies and a nickel? Well, the answer is no.
No, actually what they're doing is trying to get you to call them so they have your name. And
exactly. They're trying to get a list for mailing. If they break even on that little transaction, even lose a little money, it's okay. And so the point is that you've got to have a backup, something where you want to make some money.
Well, mostly, it's a hobby, but I'm not looking to make a whole lot of money. What I'm trying to do is
you're not going to make any money that way, I don't think. You've got to have a backup. It was second tier. And then it's going to require money on your part, inventory money. And you've got to be out. First of all, you've got to have access to something of some value.
Right.
That other people want to collect.
Right.
Generally the low end.
Okay.
You're not going to be selling bar cents and whatever, not like this, right?
No, silver dollars.
Okay. Well, even silver dollars are cheap. I mean, if you want to get the stuff,
right.
There's other stuff that costs a lot more than silver dollars. But the point being, you're not going to be able to handle those just yet.
Right.
So that what I'm getting at is that I think that you're invading an area where it's going to cost you money.
Oh, okay. I was looking at what pitfalls do you have to have insurance or something of this nature.
That's a minor issue at this point.
Oh, really?
I mean, how much jeopardy can any one person be in? 50 cents, $1, $2? Santa Cruz, California. Hello there. Welcome to Talknet.
Hi, how you doing?
I am doing real well, thank you.
I'm a developer, a kind of a budding developer. I grew up in construction, and I've decided to put together a development company.
All right.
And so, in order to do that, I have had to look for a joint venture partner to come up with the money, because we end up needing considerable amounts of money to purchase land and to do the development.
It's a very hazardous business to be in right now, isn't it?
Yeah, it sure is.
Boy.
I've got a very sophisticated system for analyzing potential profitability of projects and stuff, and so hooking in with a joint venture partner who likes to be in that market it's good for me and good for them as well. I've got this one person who I'm negotiating with, and we've kind of tentatively come up with an arrangement where we might have about a 6-year joint venture partnership. And this person's going to be putting up all of the money.
All the money?
Yeah, they're going to be putting up all of the money, and we're going to be bringing in the corporation, and we have a whole team of experts in this group that we'll be hooking into this person with.
What kind of money are we talking about here?
Well, we're talking about a couple of $1 million for initial startup capital, and then considerably more than that as far as tying up land and properties and stuff.
This is a big-time operation here.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't really normally be calling you, but I have tried to find out what some type of a reasonable split of a person who's coming in, with the talent and doing a joint venture relationship with someone who has the money. What's a reasonable approach to doing profit splits and stuff like that?
I don't know if there's any answer for that. I wish it was that simple.
Yeah. Well, I've read a lot of books from different joint venture people, and I get all different kinds of answers from them too.
You see, it's pretty much of what will the other guys. They're in the driver's seat, whether you want to.
Right.
Whether you want to realize. I mean, I know that doesn't sit too well with you, and I wouldn't know if I were in your position, but they're in the driver's seat.
That's true.
There's a lot more of you than there are of them.
Right.
People looking for money. And given that set of conditions, pretty much what kind of a deal can you cut?
Right. So there really isn't any kind of standard that a person can kind of use as a rule of thumb.
If there is one, I'm not aware of it.
Okay. All right, that was what I needed to know.
I wish I had a better answer for you, but I think it's the correct answer.
Okay, great.
Take good care.
Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Osage Beach, Missouri. Hello there. Are you there?
Hello?
Yes.
Hi.
Hello there.
I'm from Osage Beach, Missouri.
Yep.
And I'm wondering, I'm a graduating senior, and I'm wondering how to go about writing a resume.
Well, why are you writing a resume to begin with? Let's start with that.
Well, that's what my mother's been asking me. She listens to you all the time, and apparently you don't suggest that.
Well, I think a resume, no, that's not quite true, because a resume is something you'll probably have to have. And you'll have to have it because sometimes a prospective employer will ask for a resume.
Okay.
But I'm asking you, what is your first name?
Jennifer.
Jennifer, what's a resume? What is it for? What would you want one for? Why does somebody want one? What's it supposed to accomplish?
It's supposed to get me a job. Tell the employer why to hire me.
It's not supposed to get you a job, but it's supposed to be something that's going to tell the employer something about you. Would you not agree? All right. So you tell me some of the things that you think go into a resume.
Well, I don't have much job experience.
I asked you what goes into a resume, not what you don't have.
The qualities that, I don't know, I can't be very specific.
Well, you see, you're going to have to be, because how can you write something unless you know what you're writing about?
Well, that's why I called you.
Okay. All right, well, that's a fair answer. You see, Jennifer, the resume is meant to billboard you. Now, you've seen resumes, have you not?
Yes.
And some of them will say, I went to elementary school in, West Undershirt and that sort of thing, right?
Right.
Who cares? Who gives a rap where you went to elementary school? Or high school, for that matter.
Right.
The fact that you graduated from college pretty much indicates you went to grammar school and high school. Would that not be, I think that's a given, isn't it?
Yes.
Now, it could also make the statement, if I have a PhD, it would be a given that I have an undergraduate degree, but you still mention that. But there's no reason to mention high school unless there's something significant that took place in high school.
Okay.
You're an all-American swimmer or something. That's certainly significant, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
You're a gold medalist in the Olympics. Significant.
Right.
But the fact that you went to high school and played basketball or whatever without any great distinction is nobody cares.
Mm-hmm.
You see, when you're going to go out and look for a job, I want you to persuade me that I'm going to be better off talking to you. Do you see?
Yes, I know.
Okay. Well, wait a while. Now, you're going to tell me you haven't got much to sell, right?
Right.
But you got to sell whatever you got. Now, one of the things you can sell, I hope, is enthusiasm. Are you enthusiastic? You really want to go out and do the best you can and so on and so forth. What have you done in your life that demonstrates that, Jennifer?
Well, I stuck school out for 4 years.
All right, then you say that. That's one thing. You're absolutely right. And tenacity is one of the few things that an undergraduate degree proves. You hung out for 4 years. I agree with that. What else?
I don't know.
What have you done? You see, you have to write down all of the things that you've done with your life. In your life. I'm just reaching a little bit now, okay? Were you a volunteer at the hospital?
No.
No candy striper experience?
No.
You ever go through Girl Scouts, get a bunch of merit badges?
No.
What have you been doing with your time?
My mother keeps asking me that the same question.
Well, it's a good question, Jennifer. Now I'm asking you as a prospective employer. You're going to be a real person, not a people in training pretty quick. Talk to me, baby. What have you been doing for the last 22 years?
I've been studying for my classes.
That's it?
Well, I've worked during summers.
Talk to me about that.
Well, I was a checker in a grocery store.
Yeah.
Worked in gift shops.
Doing what?
Selling. Checking people out at the register, dusting.
What else?
I was a lifeguard.
All right. How'd you get to be a lifeguard?
I had to take class.
And you had to pass your WSI and so forth, did you not?
Right.
Well, these are things you're going to talk about, Jennifer.
They care if I was a checker in a grocery store?
Maybe not, but they might care the fact that you're athletic enough to get a WSI, and that you were responsible enough to be a lifeguard, where you were in charge of somebody, where somebody's safety was your consideration.
Okay.
How did you do in school?
Well, average.
Not so swell.
Well, I think I have a 2.4 Q.
Not so swell, as I said. Well, we're going to play that down. Did you do anything from an extracurricular point of view as an undergraduate?
Well, I'll tell you something. I was in a sorority. Now, is that something that you should tell an employer or not? I don't
think it's important unless you did something. If you were president of the sorority, yeah.
Unless something that you held a high position.
Because that way would indicate that your peers held you in some esteem.
No.
So you got to go for the stuff. And if you have nothing, then you got to build up something.
Okay.
The fact that you're, again, enthusiasm. I am willing to do anything, and I mean anything, as long as it's legal and moral in your company. Now, you're laughing, honey, and you got to do something to impress me. Because let me tell you something, there's going to be 50,000 cute little girls just like you going to apply for the same job.
Well, that's why I'm worried.
Well, you can be worried all you want. Let's get positive now. Tell me something that's going to impress me, and one thing might impress me is that I don't care if I have to work 7 days a week. I don't look at the clock at 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock is the time between 4:59 and 5:01. If you want me to work weekends, nights, travel, stay home, it doesn't matter. This comes first, not my social life. Nothing comes before my career aspirations.
Okay.
At least it's a start. Something. You see?
Okay.
The resume should be short. The cover letter is where that accompanies the resume is what's got to sell you. And you might start out with that. I have spent 22 years preparing for this job. And this is my first shot to prove what I have about to tell you. That I'm willing to work, if it's necessary, 20 hours a day, 7 days a week. Vacations are not paramount. I'm not really concerned about your fringe benefits. I don't care what kind of a pension plan you have. What I'm looking for is an opportunity to prove that I'm a very special person.
Okay.
Something of that order.
Okay.
And then go prove it.
Can I ask you something else?
Sure.
How would you suggest that I actually find these corporations, these businesses that could hire me?
Well, first of all, you're going to check all of the advertising. Secondly, you're going to talk to employment agencies. Thirdly, you're going to go down to the college where you were graduated and talk to the placement office.
Okay.
Fourthly, you're going to talk to, how many friends do you have?
Well.
How many? Jennifer, talk to me, baby. This is the real world, honey. We're not out there playing games now.
I have 5 friends.
That's all?
That's all.
In your whole life, there's only 5 friends?
Well, 5 good friends.
I don't care. I didn't ask you good friends. How many people do you know?
Friends or acquaintances?
All right, let's make it acquaintances. That's
Okay,
that's a good distinction, and I agree with that.
Many acquaintances.
Then talk to every one of their parents.
Okay.
Find out what they do for a living and say, is there some way that you might be able to introduce me to somebody? It's called networking. Take a look at your mother and dad's Christmas card list. Contact every one of those people.
Okay.
Go back to the grocery store where you work. Maybe somebody down there can help you. The gift shop where you worked.
Okay.
Where you played lifeguard. Every single solitary soul that might be an entree, you contact.
Okay.
99.9% will be a waste of time.
Okay.
Hopefully one of them might help you.
Okay.
That's just for beginning. For overture. That's just for openers. I have one last question. Did you have a major?
I'm an English major.
Why did you major in English?
I majored in English by default.
It's a good answer, but don't tell an employer that.
Right, I won't.
But what is your answer to the employer?
Pardon me?
What is your answer to the employer?
What is my answer to the employer?
I'm across the employment desk, Jennifer. I want to know, why did you major in English?
Because I love English. It's my life.
Well, I'm not sure I'd say it quite that way. But you might say that the command of a language and ability to communicate is one of the things that I feel can prepare me to go into almost any endeavor.
Okay.
It's a better answer.
Okay.
Good luck on it.
Thank you.
And if I pick on you, it's okay, because the world's going to pick a lot harder.
Okay.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Hi, Bruce Williams. Stick around. This is Talknet.
Toledo's largest radio news staff. When you need to know, stay tuned to News Radio 1370 WSPD.
Hi.
Hi. My name is Larry. And I have a problem with the franchise that I bought.
What kind of franchise?
It's a travel franchise.
Travel agency?
Travel agency, correct.
What's the problem? Is the problem with the franchise, or is it with your travel agency?
I think it's some of both.
All right.
I bought the franchise, and then I purchased an existing agency and converted it.
Okay.
To.
Yes, I understand.
Okay. And the figures showed that there was about $700,000 to $800,000 in sales per year.
This is the existing
existing agency.
The formerly existing agency, really.
Right.
All right, and that's pretty hard to fake figures for a travel agency.
Yeah, I guess I believe the numbers were there.
Well, you can just take a look at their checkbook and see what they paid to the vendors of travel, i.e., the airline organization and so forth.
Well, you have to have an outside accounting firm, and the accounting firm supplied those figures.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What I'm saying is there's a lot of businesses be hard to track.
That started coming through ceiling.
You should punch a hole right away.
Well, and so that's what we did. Finally, somebody came in and they took out a square section where that leak was.
Yeah.
And I was told that it was probably coming from the person's balcony above me.
Mm-hmm.
They were in the midst of replacing that balcony, which they have done, and they replaced the section that they had cut out, which is very obvious where they replaced it because I have a white ceiling.
Why were they replacing a balcony?
Well, they've been doing a lot of work. This unit, I guess, or these particular condominiums have been around for maybe 11 to 14 years.
Mm-hmm.
So they're re-siding.
When you say they, you mean the condominium association is doing this?
Right.
Okay, we get back. You said to me something at the outset here was you didn't like or you didn't understand or took exception to something I said about dealing with a condo association. So when we get back, maybe let's focus on that. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. Let's focus on the condo association. That's where you begin. What's the problem?
Okay. As I mentioned, they fixed the leak in the ceiling in the living room,
yeah.
And they had a problem with painting it. They didn't paint it the same color. It's very obvious. It's like brown on white. I've reported twice now to have them fix that.
Mm-hmm. But you're dealing with a manager of some kind, right?
With the homeowners association, they're on site. They have some representatives on site.
But that's what I'm getting at. You're not dealing with a homeowners association. You're dealing with their representative.
Correct. Okay. In that sense, yes.
Well, no, that's an accurate observation, as contrasted with going down and talking to the president of the association, who's one of the tenants,
mm-hmm.
or one of the owners, right?
Right.
There is a difference.
Okay.
You're talking to a paid employee.
Correct.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so this was in November. They fixed that. Now, I came home this weekend and found that it was leaking more severely, plus other areas it was leaking.
Right.
When I went in today to talk to them about it, I was told that I was only the second person that had reported a leak, and that they like to wait until they get more people to report leaks.
Oh, that's a lot of CR you-know-what.
Yeah.
Come on. You say, look, I don't want to hear those stories. I got water in my unit.
Right. Okay, that's what I told them. And I said, I said, okay, that's fine, maybe not today. I said, well, can you tell me if they're going to be out tomorrow? And she just looked at me and said, well, I know they're not going to be out tomorrow. It'll be 3 weeks. And I said, well, I'm sorry, but 3 weeks is not acceptable. We have freezing weather down here.
Well, beyond the freezing weather, and that's a stupid answer. I mean, not from her.
Right.
You got water coming into your apartment, and we'll be in there in 3 weeks.
Right.
That's stupid.
And, it could cause further
No,
damage.
well, hold on. If I were in your position right now, I'd go beat on the door of the president of the association. He lives there in one of the condos. Go talk to him or her. Say, what a dumb answer I got from this, I was going to use the B word. It's working for you people. I got water coming into my living room, and she says, we want to hear about several leaks before we do anything, and then we'll be out in 3 weeks. I mean, those are two patently absurd answers.
Right.
And this guy or gal got elected, for whatever reason, to be president of the homeowners association. Go give him an ulcer. I'm serious. Do you know who that person is?
No. Well, there's a manager also.
No, forget the.
I don't know if he's the president or what he is.
No. I only got a few seconds.
Okay.
Not the manager. He's a paid employee. Someplace you have an association that you've never gone to the meetings for, and you should have. Because these are the people that run the place. There is an elected president. Every year you get a new one. And that's the person you ought to be talking to.
Okay. All right.
Go bang on their door and you tell them I sent you.
Okay, thanks.
Good luck, hon. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet.
With Fred Heckman and the WIBC News Team.
Eaton Rapids, Michigan. Well, that's a mouthful. Hello there.
Thank you so much for taking my call, Bruce.
You're very welcome.
My wife and I listen to you often, and it's a real learning experience.
Well, I'm delighted you're part of it. What can I do you out of today?
Oh, this is a snap for you, but it's not for me.
Okay, one snap. There it is.
Last year I bought a cruise on the Caribbean.
Okay.
And I gave it to my wife for Christmas for the two of us.
Oh, nice. One of my favorite places.
And I've never been, and she's never been. She's in seventh heaven, and I'm the hero. And I love being that. And I want to.
So far, you're doing fine. Let's not quit now.
Well, the final thing is, I've got some information here about a cruise vacation protection plan. I don't know anything about it, and I thought perhaps you could give me a little advice about it.
Vacation insurance, and whether or not it's for you is there are a lot of variables. First of all, let's talk about what it covers. Essentially, it says if you can't go by virtue of death, illness, and a bunch of other reasons, then you get your money back, or the biggest part of your money back, right?
That's correct. I read it through several times.
Okay, that's what it comes down to. And it will vary a little bit from company to company, but essentially that's what we're talking about. And the charges will run somewhere around 1.5%, 2% of the cost of the vacation you're insuring. Is that about right?
About 2.5%.
Okay, somewhere in that ballpark.
You're right in.
Okay. Whether or not it's important, let me give you a specific example, okay? My brother is going to go on a cruise with me. All right?
Yes.
Now, in his case, since he recently had open heart surgery, it would make, in my opinion, very good sense for him to buy the insurance. Because, your health is a little bit delicate if you're having people probing around taking your heart out,
Sure.
Given that set of conditions, I think he would be very well advised to take the insurance. On the other, and the further in advance that you make a reservation, the more the insurance makes sense. If you're making your reservations 2 weeks before, chances are I wouldn't bother.
Sure.
So it would depend in some measure on how far in advance the cruise is. And the next thing is a little bit about you guys. I mean, are you 26 or 86? I mean, is your health are you in great shape, or is there a good possibility?
I'm in fantastic shape. I'm over 60, but I haven't been sick in over 15 years, not even one day.
Nothing wrong with that. How about your bride?
She's in pretty good health. She's in pretty good health, and she's just so excited.
Uh-huh.
She's in seventh heaven, like I said.
It's a crapshoot, you see.
Sure.
I have never purchased it. But I have been very fortunate, like you. For someone who is in tenuous health, or someone in the family is, or whatever, I think it makes for pretty good sense.
I see.
Because you start, it's real easy to say, oh, I won't bother, but it's awfully hard to swallow, $50, $100, $2,000 loss.
Sure. Well, we're really looking forward to it. I took your advice and bought the lower priced cabins. We'd be into entertainment and seminars and things like that. That's going to be on board.
Hey, when you have the cheapest cabin on the vessel.
Well, we don't have the cheapest one, the lower one.
But I mean, if you have the cheapest, you get exactly the same accoutrements, except for the sleeping. Everybody else, the same meals, the same entertainment, the same ports of call, the same tours, the same booze at the bar. Everything is exactly the same, and I see no reason, if money is a factor, to spring for a real expensive cabin, because most of us, I mean, maybe I'm the exception. I do hang out a little bit. Kind of, for me, it's a way to kind of relax and
Sure, I can understand.
But so I probably spend a little more time in a cabin maybe than the average person would. I was on a cruise here a week ago, for a few days, and I watched a lot of TV, which I'm not a television watcher, but I was alone and quiet, and it was just a real nice way to be locked away from the world. But I am atypical in that regard.
Sure.
So I'd say you did real well. Whether or not you take the insurance is a question. It's a crapshoot, like any insurance.
And I think I can make my mind up now.
There you go.
Thank you. You're so excited, we can't wait.
Hey, have a great trip.
Thank you.
I do wish you well.
Good luck to you. We really enjoy you.
Thank you, sir.
Goodbye.
Yeah, I really enjoy the cruise thing. I went on a short cruise here a few days ago, just over the holidays, just to kind of take a little rest and relaxation, a breather. And there's a lot of things in the ship that I didn't do. I just had no inclination to do. I mean, my idea of a great evening is grabbing a book and putting my feet up in the air, That's a whole different matter. I mean, but it is not that big a novelty. But it's a way to enjoy yourself and relax and get away from things and meet new people. And the big thing is you're not packing and unpacking. I mean, that's the one part of traveling which I find still difficult. I'm leaving tomorrow. I'm going to Hawaii, as I mentioned. We'll be talking to our friends in Honolulu on Wednesday, and then Hilo and Kona. But it means going from New York to Los Angeles, changing planes, L.A. to Honolulu, doing our thing there, another flight over to the Big Island, and still another change of hotels, 2 different hotels on the Big Island, and then the next morning getting up and flying back to Honolulu to Los Angeles, and Los Angeles home. Now that's a lot of changes and carrying on and whatever. And, well, it's a business trip, and that's fine. But that's not real relaxing. And that's why I find the cruise kind of relaxing. Now, if anybody tells you it's not a hassle getting off and getting on, they're lying to you. Because it is. You got to go through customs if you leave the country, and there's a whole lot of it's getting established. But once you're established, your stuff is in the closet, and it's done. And you're there for a week or whatever it happens to be, without unpacking and packing, but you get to go other new places, but you still have that base of operations with you. I'm Bruce Williams. Stick around, my friends. This is Talknet. Columbia, Missouri. Hello there. Welcome to my world.
Hi, Bruce. How are you?
I am just fine.
Good. Pleasure to talk to you, and I really enjoy your show.
Thank you, sir.
Good. Sir, I have a question about an unruly apartment manager.
Unruly?
Yeah.
What's the rascal up to?
Really getting to be a pain. My fiance and I are getting ready to move into a home, and our current apartment manager is really giving us a hard time on our reference whenever the future landlord-to-be would call up and ask for a reference.
No, wait a minute. You're moving into a home. You're going to rent a home, is that it?
Correct.
Okay, well, let's back up a little. Are you under a lease arrangement now?
We are, but our lease is expired, and we're doing month-to-month now. We've already given our notice.
All right, so there's no reason why you can't move out.
Correct.
All right, so you mean you're having just a problem because of a reference?
Exactly. We've had 4 different realtors do credit checks and references on us. Credit checks go through just fine, but when it comes to the reference from the apartment manager, she not to borrow any words, but she lies through her teeth.
Is there any substance to what she says? Any substance whatever?
Somewhat, yes. There is some.
All right, talk to me.
Okay. The lease that we have specifically states that no pets are allowed on the premises at any times without prior permission.
Right.
At one time, we did have a pet over here, and
but visiting.
It was visiting and was here for less than a full day, and
oh, for crying out loud! That's splitting. Sorry, go. What kind of a pet? Don't tell me a gorilla, please.
No, no. It was a little puppy, and it was here for less than a day,
and for this, they made an issue.
I'm sorry?
They made an issue out of that?
It's being a big issue, and...
Or what else? There's substance to that. What else?
Okay, well, there's substance to that, but in the end, just to try to clear things up, we paid the daily fine of $10 for having a pet here.
Oh, for crying out loud. What else?
Okay, so that was long ago. Well, now, when it comes to the point of getting the reference, she says that we've had the pet here for the last 8 months, and the dog's like 5 months old. So, that's one issue here. Secondly, repeatedly, we've had problems with people coming into our apartment when we're not present, outside of the realms of what the contract says they can do so.
For what, for example?
Well, we had requested some work to be done on the apartment and put in a work order.
Right.
Well, while my fiance was in here showering, one of the employees came in and started doing some work, and when she came out of the shower, it kind of scared her to death.
What a shock that'd be.
Yeah, it kind of took her off guard.
Put a smile on his face, though, huh? What?
He really had something to look at.
Yeah, there's something wrong. I mean, there's just something clearly wrong with any organization that would do something like that.
Okay, so they came in and did the work. Well, from that point on, we requested that whenever they have work to be done, we want to be present. And they said, well, fine. So then we put up, a note to make sure on the outside of our door that we didn't want anybody in there except when we were here. Well, time and time again, they've come into our apartment when we haven't been here, and work that we've requested has not been done.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got a conflict based upon that they're saying.
What else?
Okay. Next, that she says the apartment's been torn up, and again, one of her little visits in here when we weren't here, she says she'd examined the apartment and things are torn up, and they haven't been. There were things that we requested to be repaired that were here when we originally moved.
Is this a big complex?
250 units.
Well, that's good size.
It's pretty good size, yeah.
And then this woman is strictly an employee.
She is.
What do you attribute this antithesis? What this attitude problem for her?
Well,
why? I mean, does she have with everybody or just with you?
I don't know that she has with any other tenants. I don't believe that she has. I haven't heard anybody else complaining about it besides us. But the only thing that I can figure is that my fiance's sister-in-law used to be her boss. And I guess that she thought when we moved in, we were just going to start swinging around our weight and trying to use her sister-in-law, but we've never gone to her and never...
Is she still there, or is she history?
Excuse me?
Is she still around?
The sister-in-law?
Yeah.
She's even higher up in the organization now.
Well, instead of screwing around, why don't you have your fiance call her sister-in-law and say, hey, sis, we got a problem with this lady. Straighten her out.
Well, we've done that.
And what did she do?
Well, when the apartment manager talks to the sister-in-law, we get the same, it's us versus them, and of course she believes us, but at the same time, the apartment manager has, I guess, a pretty good reputation with the company and hasn't been known to do this on a regular basis anyway.
You mean to say your sister-in-law, whatever she is, hasn't got enough clout to turn this woman off?
That's about the size of it.
Well, in that case, you're out of business then. You call people, when you walk in about a new job, you say, look, we are having a severe personality difference of opinion with this woman, and there's no point using her as a reference because she's going to shoot us down. Now, I got to believe in your area that there are enough homes for rent that it's not that big a deal to rent a house.
It's not.
Well, then,
and like I said,
there are more people looking to rent than there are people looking for more home. There are more homes for rent than there are people to fill them.
Everywhere in the country, just about.
That's right. So I just talked to the real estate guy. Listen, if you're wasting your time by calling her, I can give you bank references, I can give you personal references, but we just don't get along with this lady.
Well,
and she's going to shoot us down, so I'm not even going to tell you who she is or where we are now.